style hasn't changed. Kanavi loves to play the most meta jungles right now. And even if you ban some of them away, he is going to get his hands on one of them, and they're going to play through him. Now, I love this Aurora ban because Zeka has gotten so much success with this pick, and it suits the aggressive playstyle of Kanavi. If you can't stop Kanavi, stop the other moving parts.
Yeah, I love the Aurora ban for a different reason, but I'm not going to go into it. As the Rumble and Orianna are going to be the bans here, and with T1 banning some more eclectic choices, it does mean that something might slip through the cracks. Sure. And the Varus is likely to still require a ban here, but then the Karma is going to slip through. And the Akali, like, they just stuck with the A's. It's a AAA ban here. Yeah. And obviously in Korean, it's not A that comes first, so they haven't just started with the alphabet or anything like that. I imagine Alistair would have been in there a little bit earlier than these champions.
Well, if we get a second set of this, maybe we could power one of my kids' toys through AAA batteries.
That's true. I mean, you only really needed a AA for that, as so Varus and Karma are both up.
Azir stocks are up because of the Akali ban for Faker, and a lot of the time, you know, T1 would go for that, but there's just so much stuff up, including the Varus, that they'll actually pick first, which is always been an old favorite of Guma's, who's on the other side, so they deny that.
It's absolutely illegal to not first pick the Varus. But now you definitely get the Karma if you want it.
They get Jarvan. They could also go Pantheon here if they want to. So much is up that it's actually crazy. Could go Karma and Jarvan, and then you have great engage, but like that's not really Hanwha's style. They're going to go for the Azir pick instead.
Oh, okay. This is an interesting one. Feels like a bit of a pick away.
If they forgo the Karma entirely, the bottom lane here for T1 could be incredibly powerful. But again, this is not really Delight style. This is not Hanwha Esports style to play Karma at all. And instead, they'll go for the Bard.
Yeah, the Bard is still up.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrier's Bard always gets banned away. And I think that this was something that we kind of overlooked, as Carrier obviously can still just play the Karma and do some ridiculous things. We did see that very recently as well.
I mean, Karma,
with these
Varus,
bans, it's kind of crazy with how much is left up.
Karma Varus is very, very powerful, but it might just be a Karma-less game because you already have the Varus in the lane, and
I mean, he may not even be, right? It depends on what's going to be on that top side.
Right.
So, like, the Varus is so powerful because of that flexibility.
But if you grab the Karma here now, you can still hold that flexibility.
Yeah.
And you don't need the Ezreal to make a Karma lane work. And from here,
you've seen Karma Jhin be very powerful, and they're going to lock it in.
Okay, now Blind Varus might have been a step too far for me, because now it's no longer a flex, right? We know this Jhin is not going top.
And Gumayusi's two best champions just got picked by T1, which is kind of impressive. He is looking at the Yunara now. I do not really like Yunara Bard into the Jhin Karma that we're seeing here. And the Xin Zhao for Kanavi, I think, makes a whole lot more sense.
It would also force Guma to play a very different game than he's been playing most of the season. Obviously, he had that pop-off Lucian game against KT Rolster, where Guma reminded everyone that he's not just utility. He's not just the Ziggs Jhin backline a million miles away from the enemies. So he actually can be the one who goes in first, but this draft is getting pretty weird, as we will have ultimately the Jarvan to come through here. Xin will be banned away from Owner. It's his best champion. This is just so, like, the storylines, the champion pools, everything that's going on in this draft is almost too much to say. Like, we need an hour with this draft to break it all down.
Yeah.
But let's see what comes through now to protect this Varus pick. Like, ban the Fury, I suppose. Like, maybe that's a safe choice. They take away the Caitlyn first. Caitlyn Bard into this Karma lane could be one of the only things that can push into this. And it goes without saying that Guma is an incredible Caitlyn player, built a lot of his career through it.
Yeah, I do really like this from T1, though, making sure that they truly target Gumayusi's champion pool now that they have foregone giving him the choice in that third place. The Lee Sin to be taken away. I mean, Lee Sin and Xin Zhao both, you know, real signature picks for Owner.
Yeah, this is not a... I feel like this draft is not about the meta. It's about these two teams knowing each other incredibly well. Because there are 7 T1 players here. And I think banning the Fury feels like the strongest move here, the safest move, but there's so much else that Zeus can play. That's why I'm not a big fan of this Varus blind and the reveal this early, because it's basically saying, no, Doran will be fine against anything Zeus can throw at him. And when I look at the form of those two players and Zeus' champion pool, I feel like he's got an answer. We don't know what it is necessarily in this draft just yet, but we'll find out very soon. In fact, probably right now.
Yeah, well, Sivir is going to be the theoretical choice, as Gumayusi hovered the Yasuo that a lot of people, I imagine, were pretty excited about. There is MF, though, to be locked in.
All right, this has been another one of Guma's picks this season that he's found a lot of great success with, especially with Kanavi's Jarv, and they have the Bard to set this up as well. This is a great set of 4 champions here for Hanwha Esports, and they still have that final pick for the top lane. Again, this could be Faker playing Varus, but probably not.
Yeah, good point.
As Pantheon will go all the way through the draft.
Okay, that's kind of insane. They can choose which order they want to pick them in.
They need Engage badly.
Yep. And picking the Annie first makes a lot of sense because the Jhin is in Faker's hands right now, so it helps with swapping. So the Annie is going to be locked in, and then a Pantheon might be a decision still.
I'm trying to think of what else they could go for here that could still work. If they want a bigger front line, they could even go for something like a Sejuani. Wukong completely out of my mind here, actually, and fantastic for them, but isn't going to be great in the early game. Same with this Nocturne. So they do opt for Owner's Nocturne here, even though they don't have the greatest mid-jungle synergy. It still works decently well with the Annie, but wonky draft here for T1.
Yeah, I'm a little bit frightened about it. I mean, there is some synergy, obviously, between the Curtain Call and the Paranoia, right? Like, you can see the targets to hit, and it's much more difficult to dodge
What's Zeus
when the lights are out.
Gnar, is it Kennen? Is he playing Yorick into Varus? Okay.
I mean, it could really work. There's, you know, the same school of thought for the Yorick into the Jace could play a part here, because if the Yorick ever gets on top of the Varus may just die.
He will die in almost every situation. And, you know, sometimes the Varus will take the exhaust top for safety. I don't know if that really helps you too much here. Can't stop all those ghouls from getting on top of you. If you get hit, you're just a sitting duck. I mean, you've got one flash against that ghoulie wall. If you get caught by it ever, if there's any jungle attention topside, you're going to have a hard time. We'll see where Kanavi wants to go, though, because early game, this MF Bard lane actually can play into the Karma Jhin, especially if some of those bindings land, if you can avoid some of that poke from Keria. The MF's raw damage and her damage output is much higher than the Jhin's early on in those first few levels, so this is going to be a banger game. I mean, we've got a little bit of everything here. When the drafts leave everything open, you just never know what you're going to get, and I'm very pleased as a commentator of this series with what we got in the end.
Well, bit of a jump scare there, as we could see. So we're taking the fans by surprise with the draft and with the camera work. As this is Kim Minji. She's a famous person.
Yeah, she's a sprinter from track and field, not in League of Legends. And
that shows the reaction time. Definitely got terrified very, very quickly.
She was on Hedge's healing camp recently. They played soccer with Guma.
Yep, and you guys might have seen that between the games as well. But we are not between the games now. We are ready to get onto the riff for game 1. Wow. My eardrums, even though they are inside, theoretically, noise-canceling headsets, are very sore after that T1 chant.
Uncancelled.
Indeed. Definitely not very canceled. As Doran has gone back to the old exhaust on the top side of the map. This was the first Varus summoner spell that we saw. I think we saw some experimentation with some other things, but the exhaust has seen the most success up there. As Delight is using Keria's skin. That's kind of cool.
See an electrocute proc early for Delight as the small little things you need to get done in this lane if you're going to try to go toe-to-toe here at level 1. Gets another Q to land.
Ooh, not too bad, the damage to come on through here. As Pei's taking the worst end of it, and so is Keria here in these trades. Yushi doing a decent job.
He's really holding his ground. Forces the barrier. Guma really aggressive here, but knows his limits. He's really good at misfortune. Anyone who's been watching LCK knows. Level 2, though.
Level 2 comes through for both teams. As with the heal utilized on both sides, it's now just Gumayusi in the lead as far as that barrier is concerned.
Yeah, and I mean, the barrier advantage is, you could definitely feel it. You could see it in how Guma's playing. He's got the health here to actually back up, pushing aggressively. They're just going to push this wave as fast as possible. And Delight's Ignite, or rather his Electrocute proc that he had earlier, really put a dent in Keria's health, and then the heal trade allowed them to weather the storm of that barrier from Pei's. I mean, the observers are keeping their eyes glued on this because this is right now the most important part of this early game, bar none.
Oh, it really is. The Inspire coming in from Keria, though, means that when Pei's is able to get those trades, it works out very well, as Delight takes a lot there from Carrier and Pays together. Deadly Flourish connecting.
I think that's the end of the tempo here for Hanwha, even with Guma's barrier advantage. They do have Kanavi coming down here, and Owner is a Nocturne at level 3, so they may have been wanting to, had that not happened, set up something right afterwards, but it's just not going to be the case anymore, and we'll see Delight take an early back and run back to the lane.
Well, Zeus is pretty good at Yorick, everyone. And so even at level 4 is doing just fine against Doran up here. Obviously, things could take a turn, and the wave is crashing towards the Varus. But oftentimes we see Varus in a whole lot of control in the early stages of the game, and so far Zeus is doing a very good job. I think it's really interesting thinking about how these compositions are going to work. As Pays
was so
very
scary.
close to getting bound, exactly.
That angle that Carrier and Pays almost set up for Delight was potentially devastating.
And is this the quietest Kanavi's been all season long? Feels like it for me, as we haven't really been having a look at the jungle. We will pan over to him now.
He's going to get involved in the Raptor camp.
There we go. At least sees Owner and throws a flag in. And he's just going to help him with his Raptors. Nicely done.
Marked enemy jungler.
Indeed.
As Faker's having a pretty good early laning phase here, as he had a phenomenal bounce back game against Scout after having his worst career KDA, or again, deaths. I always say KDA for some reason, but I don't think that's actually accurate. It might be, but I don't think it is. And did end up controlling a lot of that series that they played earlier this week, and is having a good start to this one as well on the Annie pick.
Yep, has been something he's found success on in the past as well, as Zeka has also been a great Azir player in the past also. Faker
Took him a
would
little
certainly
while.
remember that. Yeah.
But he eventually did grow into the Azir, especially in the post-DRX days after winning that World Championship.
Doran goes back and collects himself some steel caps.
The boldness of both of these teams in the draft is, you could really feel it, right? As Faker does have a bit of a health advantage here.
Yeah, a bit of boldness there from Zeka to just straight up die.
I guess he just thought Faker didn't have enough mana to do that, but he did.
Yeah, I don't know how he thought that, but...
I mean, I don't know elsewise what he was thinking there. I was like, okay, Faker has more health, but so Zeka will respect it, is what I was going to say. And then...
I'm sorry. Yeah, I want to apologize to everyone for the lack of play-by-play there, but it just was kind of silly.
Like, Faker did a lot of impressive stuff leading up to that, and then he was like, what? And then killed Zeka.
Yeah. And I mean, we were talking about the fact that, you know, Faker has been having a bit of a glow-up. The good old solo first blood as he now drops a bear on the pigeon.
I mean, Zeka had the full push of the wave. He didn't need to stand in Tipper's range there either, but...
Let's have a look at it again, shall we?
So Faker's like, all right, I'm going to come up here. He's got his stun prepped, right? Because he can just self-shield. But he actually Qs and Ws. He has just enough mana for that, actually. 140 required.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think Zeka just did not expect him to have enough. That's my only defense.
Well, that double up did a fair bit of damage there as Carrier looking for a little bit more. Cosmic Binding not going to connect, but Guma giving a lot back here. Will use the barrier to make sure he mitigates as much of that damage as he can. As Owner comes down only level 5, but is still able to help back up his bottom lane.
Yeah, this is really scary for the T1 bottom trio, so to speak, with Owner not having his ultimate just yet, Kanavi being nearby, and that health trade heavily benefiting Gumayushi because he had the barrier. Even with barrier disadvantage in that 3v3, I think T1 was never going to like what happened. It's been a pretty impressive game from both Guma and Delight in this 2v2. What I was going to say before we had that solo kill in the mid lane is, like, the players and the teams here said, all right, we actually think we can handle all these OP picks, and this, you know, Guma Delight setup here with the MF Bard is working into Karma. You know, they're actually doing quite well, whereas most teams would just not even allow the Karma. Zeus definitely not enjoying that.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage. Chains of Corruption does come on through. Does have his Merc Treads completed, so isn't held in position for too long. But you can see that doesn't really matter because Doran does so much damage off the back of the Blight, stacking up a few extra times. And so Varus doing what it's supposed to now. Yeah,
it is notable, like you pointed out earlier, that this is like the first time Kanavi's been 0-0-0 at 7 minutes in 2026.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
And, you know, the pressure hasn't been strong enough in any of these lanes for him to actually impact them. He came up to the top side when Doran was getting that aggressive trade in, but wasn't close enough to gank, and knew that the window was kind of not there. Bottom side, obviously, there were 3v3 fights that could have happened, but never found a window in and couldn't bail Zeka out from his own demise there in the mid lane. So T1 do have that gold lead, and unfortunately for Kanavi, he hasn't made an impact just yet, which means that now Nocturne has skipped the toughest part and is ready to look for another pick here, potentially.
Yeah, there goes the bear. I mean, Zeka can always break the shield from the Nocturne and then just sweep him away. Speaking of sweeping, does find Faker here, who still doesn't have his flash. Kanavi making his way in, not going to be 0-0 anymore as he adds a 1 to the first column. Tibbers gets mad, but not going to be able to do anything.
I guess they just didn't have vision there, but you could tell by how Faker was playing. He's like, the danger has passed. My Nocturne is very nearby with Paranoia, so I should be okay here. And Zeka just gets in there. After, I think, surprising Faker because he took all that damage from Tibbers. Gets on top of him, the follow-up is there, so... There's no vision here for to see Kanavi, right? So Faker trades half health, and he's like, I should be fine. Owner's nearby. There's nothing that can go wrong here. But Zeka actually gets this really nice Emperor's Divide after the shuffle. Faker is just dead because both Kanavi and Delight are here. T1 are taking Dragon in live.
Yeah, it was actually really well played by Zeka to make sure that he wasn't looking like he was looking for it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I think that was really well played, especially after a pretty massive misplay earlier on. To be able to have that bounce back is going to be important here as they even up the scoreline and do claim, you know, almost a gold lead as things are extraordinarily even. The Dragon is going to put T1 a little bit ahead as far as stats are concerned if everyone spends their gold. But having a look at the compositions, I still think like there is some wonkiness on T1's side, but if they're able to start the snowball rolling in mid-game, this composition can just win more very effectively.
Owner does not have the information, the critical information.
Well, in goes Kanavi. Delight? Where did we come from, my friend? He's going to get the flash out of Owner. Zeus is going to come and help collect this red buff as Pays shows some curtains to Guma. Now, Doran is able to flash in a very interesting way, gets into the ghoulie wall, and is actually completely fine after Delight sort of bypasses him in his own magical journey. And, all right, Guma able to sidestep here.
That was very intense.
Yeah, there's a lot of scariness happening all over the place.
But, I mean, this turret is not safe. Doran.
Delight. Why is Delight always behind them? And always using very weird magical journeys as there's another ghoulie wall to come on in as Owner is able to Paranoia in there. Kanavi comes down. They do take out the Bard, but Zeus might be able to grab this kill, and there it is with a Q. 1 for 1 on the top side of the map. And this game has gone weird. Faker behind the turret as well is able to flash out of the way of that last turret shot. And Carrier gets underneath his turret, but he may not be out of the woods just yet. Doran into another ghoulie wall as Kanavi able to get the Q down. Flag comes in and able to tank up the last shot. Teleport now in from Faker. I just don't know. Oh, he's able to get there fast enough as Zeus. Yeah, he is going to get stunned up. Those Merc Treads just not quite enough as the Pyroblast takes him down. And that's T1 now in the lead as far as the kill score is concerned.
I was like, maybe I'll do grubs. I don't think so, my friend.
I think he might have just been trying to get over that wall and angered them on his way
I think
past.
you're right. It just looked funny with the camera pan there. As Delight, they've kind of figured out he likes to be on the T1 side, and they're going to punish him this time.
Yeah, taking the magical journey is not as much of a problem for Owner, who has a spell shield. Pays comes in. Delight is able to ult himself, but I think he wanted to only ult Owner, who will then get stunned but not care because the Bard is dead.
I don't... So anyway, the Delight has been very aggressive. He's been hanging out with Kanavi and maybe apparently Pool Bay as well.
As Faker is going to get cataclysmed, he has no flash, so he's very, very dead.
And it goes to Zeka. It's a small shutdown, but a shutdown none the least.
Indeed. Zeus tries to sidestep, but still gets pierced by that arrow.
We are 9 kills in here at 11.5 minutes as Kanavi is going to continue to Kanavi here.
He is Kanaviing a lot.
Zeka has his ult now, and I guess we're going to reset finally to a little bit of normalcy. This is not an analyst's game. It's a play-by-play game. This one, it's just constant action. But I do think the game state favors T1 pretty heavily, even with Faker's death there. As we'll see if Pays can survive here. He should be fine.
Bullet time, as not much of it is going to be soaked there by Pays. As Carrier is taking Delight for a walk. Deadly Flourish comes on down. Magical Journey going to be taken by Carrier before Delight.
Thanks for the flank.
That was very odd. And yeah, Carrier actually just using the Bard against the Bard. As it turns out, even in a game when he's not playing Bard, he's the better Bard. That's kind of ridiculous as Gumayushi, fancy footwork here. And not going to die just yet as the Deadly Flourish comes on through. Now the paranoia is going to be used on the top side of the map, and the Chains of Corruption will be the demise of Zeus. Gumayusi, I don't think he's long for the world, as that's Pays locking that one up with a 4th bullet, and
well,
T1 rocketing to a 2K gold lead.
Yeah, the game state was slightly favored to T1. I think we can change the adverb now. I think it's pretty strongly favored for T1 after these sets of plays. Delight having a bit of a rare miss on the Bard. Yeah. In the past, we've had games of Delight Bard, like I'm talking years ago, where we were like, okay, I don't think he's very good at this pick. He's more of the engaged guy, but he's really tuned it up, right? His Bard has looked a lot better in recent times. Now Bard is just completely meta. But this game reminds you of the older ones. He's playing very aggressively, right? He's playing incredibly offensively, which is what Honor Life Esports do, right? Delight has learned, he has listened to Kanavi, he knows the new way to play League of Legends, which is to just go in all the time. Yep. But I think the punishes here have been really crisp from T1. He's died 3 times trying to find that aggression. The first time it worked out for him, the next 2 times a little bit less so. Zeka also looking to be punished.
Yeah, Captive Audience comes on down, and Captive indeed, as he is going to get snared by the Karma as well. We'll just suffer half a health bar in loss, and we'll then just look to immediately go back home. That is going to happen. No harm, no foul, though, as Cold lead 1.5k, not end of the world, but Double Dragon going to be a big deal with Ocean already taken off the board. I mean, it's only really Chemtech Soul that you're not really looking forward to, but even then, they have a fair bit of ability to utilize it, exactly.
So, I mean, at least the individual Dragon would be good for them. Mountain is also kind of okay, but weirdly enough, pretty weak for T1. They don't have a lot of champions that will get too much value out of it, especially to this comp.
If you're a squishy comp, though, I feel like Mountain is also kind of amazing because then it kind of makes everyone into a pseudo tank, especially after the soul comes in.
I think they would have liked Hextech the most, but obviously anyone would. As we are going to see a bit of a fight here over the red buff right now, as Pays can impact this play from a really far distance away, and Doran has flash ult. This is a risky endeavor here for Honor Life Esports, but I feel like they just can't help it, can they, Atlas, to try to find something.
They will always try and go for it. Zeus is also trying to go for it as Tibbers versus the Maiden. It's kind of cool. It's like a Pokemon battle.
Yeah.
I don't know who's higher level as far as Tibbers and the Maiden are concerned. Maybe level 10 versus level 10 is probably what it is. Now Carrier taking some damage. Kanavi gets in there, but the Bard, once again, tries to ult himself and dies before it even gets off, as Ona will be able to grab a kill onto Guma. The Emperor's Divide from Zeker is pretty fantastic, but he goes down as well as Doran picks up a triple, and he's looking to make it a quadra here at 15 minutes into the game. Carrier wants to slow down Kanavi, but Kanavi does not get slowed down by anyone.
It's like literally everything I was saying right before this. Like, Pays can impact the play from far away. Right, Doran is there. He has flash and ult. And they just stay for some reason. Like, they can't help it, okay?
Yeah.
Like, Delight goes, he has already used his magical journey. So Kanavi's like, I'm coming with you, bro. But everybody's here. And Pays is also effectively here, right? And he actually ends up joining the fight in the end, but his ultimate is so high value. And then Zeka is like, just sending the bad guys to his teammates.
Guma just kind of died without being able to get into a position to use his ultimate. Still had flash up as well. Very awkward little fight there from HLE, and now they are behind 2,000 gold.
All right, well,
it's not a massive swing, even though it looked like it was T1 kind of demolishing.
It looked very much like a big decision-making error. Is Kanavi?
What?
I mean, I'm scared of him too, to be honest. I also just flashed right then.
Yeah, no, me too.
It's on cooldown for a long time.
Yep.
I better not make any casting mistakes, because I don't think I've got a backup button.
I think Delight had also thrown a Cosmic Binding over the wall. It might have been what the reaction came from there as well. But that just was... it's a jump scare. This whole game has been a jump scare so far.
I mean, the draft even was a jump scare.
True.
As I do think T1 are now in a position to where this Annie setup makes it really simple to play the game. If Honor Life Esports continue to try to play as if they are now like 3,000 gold ahead at 16.5 minutes like they often are, they need to actually play a little bit slower. They need to wait for their opportunities, wait for some Cataclysm, Misfortune combos, right? Like, Misfortune is 1,000 gold behind effectively here in this game, and Nocturnal going to come out. There's Guma.
Lights go off. Deadly Flourish will be avoided here as Ona not able to find Gumayusi, who does have to flash. Holds onto his barrier at least, but the flash, the most important one.
You know how they say patience is a virtue? Kanavi believes it's a sin.
Yeah, no.
And,
or he just doesn't understand the concept. As in he goes once more, as if proving our point, as Faker flashes over the wall just beautifully.
Great flash. What a flash from Faker. And that just ruins the whole setup. They almost made something of that.
You almost caught Faker. As Pace just throwing grenades around this mid lane, Gumushi taking a little bit of damage from that one. As we do have somewhat of some normalcy coming on into the game here.
Don't say it. Don't jinx it.
I had a moment. And it's not even really jinxing because we kind of want this game to just be chaos the entire time, don't we?
I guess you're right. As we got double hex plates on the top side, as that's the way of Varus these days. And
we are ultimating all the time.
I kind of just think that the problem for HLE have a comp that absolutely can come back here in this small gold lead, but if they kind of keep throwing themselves at T1, it might just be that they are their own undoing. I think this is kind of strangely a weird test for HLE where they need to be patient.
Yeah, if they cannot too much, it could be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, just like play through sides, you know, let Kanavi set you up. You don't have to dive turrets and just get this scaling of Zero online. He's going to do more damage throughput than the Annie will in most cases. Again, assuming mistakes aren't made. Faker is not ahead, believe it or not, because he died twice, even though he had a pretty nice lead early on. But Kanavi's on his own side of the jungle. Maybe they are taking it a little bit to heart here.
Yeah. And Kanavi still has a decent advantage as well in the jungle. He's one of the only ones, somehow Faker as well, based on mainly that CS lead that he has against Faker, is able to hold on to a little bit of an advantage here as well. But with Doran as strong as he is, it is a very scary moment as we do have a teleport coming on in. I'm not sure about that one, Faker, as he does get knocked up by Kanavi. It should be a trade, but the Tempered Fate this time is going to work out and will save his life.
That's exactly what I'm talking about when I say wait for opportunities. Faker just gives them a silver platter. Gives them a kill on a silver platter. Teleports to die, and they have all the buttons ready. They wait for it, and they punish. And that should be the first dragon of the game here for Hanwha Life Esports. And Zeus gets some alone time in sides.
That could have been such a huge moment for T1 as well, because it was Soul Point available for them. All that effort put into locking down the double dragon. Obviously, in 5 minutes' time, they'll have another one, but let's check it out again.
There were so many different, better locations to TP to here from Faker, frankly. This one is just a bit of a whiff, bit of a miss. Great play, as you mentioned, from Delight to protect Kanavi here, so T1 are not able to trade one back.
If it was a 1-for-1, though, between the two, that would have been Jungler dead, and T1 would have probably been able to then take the Drake on the back end. So I think Delight really throwing the wrench into the works, and so that was why HLE were able to do so, as Kanavi just goes up into the sky for a sec, and then looks to try and take down a Grump. He will be successful in that endeavor. 1,000 gold to lead for T1. This game is getting closer and closer.
It certainly is. The Rocket Belt is ready here for Zeka. So he is very difficult to blow up very quickly in this draft. No longer really a target for the Nocturne setups here. I don't think he'll ever really be in a position to be caught by Faker. Guma is the big hole that needs to be patched here for Hanwha Life Esports. They need to get him some more money. He's got some alone time here in this, not alone time, but some strong time here with this Bloodthirst, so like he can safely farm in the mid lane is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
And they're going to look for a potential pick onto Faker. He still doesn't have flash just yet, and if he runs away, that's a turret. This is a great macro play here. And I do think that Zeus can just kind of eat the deficit on the bottom side here into Doran, knowing that Owner could ult him. He's playing very safely, so this just doesn't really allow for a cross map here for T1. As you can see, the Varus is pushing.
Take the bottom out of turret. So it is a 1-for-1, but still, I think that HLE will be happy with how this one's going.
Can't get more.
Rotating over as Doran is sieging an inner turret. That seems dangerous.
He is punished too much. Backed up by Owner, though, and it's very difficult for Delight to make this play alone. But if Kanavi shows up, Doran find himself leaving very quickly, and he is on his way out.
Yep, and Delight is just going to make his way over, finds the Cosmic Binding there as the mini flag and drag is going to try and lock down Owner, who flashes away. Doran standing his ground, though. The Tempered Fate holds him in position. The curtains were cold, but Pays not going to be able to find those last bullets, but man, Doran is so scary with this Dusk and Dawn.
Yeah, he's does so much damage.
And
by Maiden.
Takes 50 gold from the Maiden as well.
FaZe had a huge part to play in that defensive Doran. He had such a great angle there and had enough vision to back it up, knowing that he could actually just pull out the curtains, the curtain call, pull them back, and make sure that there was no follow-up there. And HLE just had to respect Doran's damage with all of that utility coming through from the Jhin. So kind of reset in T1. Maintain a small gold lead here. Very small at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's still shrinking. Tempo vibes feeling on the side of T1, though. To go back to that one.
Yeah.
FaZe comes back, picks up this wave, and outer turrets still up here in the mid lane, as two of them have fallen for T1 in their side lanes. I think that's a large reason why HLE is so competitive as far as the gold is concerned. That one extra turret, that just shows how close this game is.
Incredibly close. Like, the next fight is probably going to be on this next Dragon, but both teams have threatened vision on Baron. It's a MF versus a Jhin, so the damage is not 100% there for doing this.
It's not really, although there is an Azir on HLE's side, so I'd wait, there's also a Varus on the T1.
But it's still like so risky because your comps are a little bit squishy, especially with the Yorick not wanting to be there and the Varus being Varus, so you can be punished if you're the one to start Baron first, but they're setting these Baron traps like HLE are doing right now, and T1 are so good at this themselves that they're going to play this slow and not fall for it.
Level 16 on Doran, my goodness.
Yeah, he's
two
big.
levels ahead. I mean, one and a bit levels ahead, as level 15 does come in for Zeus now. But a full level is a huge deal, especially when it's level 16. So Doran going to come in looking for Delight, but does immediately get knocked up. There's a Paranoia going down. Delight is very dead almost immediately as Ona gets on in there. The Cataclysm is going to lock him down, but they kill Guma before he can really do anything. Now Doran flashing out of the way. Zeka should be able to put him down, and then dash cannons towards Carrier to try and lock that one up. Now Zeus versus Faker. Is Zeus finding some revenge?
Zeka?
And he will find the angle there. Zeka will be able to go golden, but Faker walking so incredibly quickly. It's a double for FaZe as he looks to clean up, and the footwork isn't there for the Yorick. It's a triple for FaZe in the end.
Carrier, by the way, no deaths on this Karma. Plays this fight like a
1-0-11.
man. Like he's up in the thick of things because he knows that he's not the priority target. Like he's just the one casting spells on all of his teammates in the thick of things. Guma dying here, so important because if he lives even with like 1 health, he can actually offer a lot more in this fight. And Doran, look at Carrier, flashes to give him the shield, buy some additional space. Faker winning the fight on the other side here against Zeus initially, but doesn't actually have the damage throughput. And then this ult here from Zeka and the Zhonya's makes it look like maybe there's an angle here. Faker rejoins. And Zeka is
deadly
deleted.
flourish onto Zeus. I didn't even see it.
Keeps him out. Cannot get in. And Carrier is just like, he's doing so much in this fight. He's casting spells on everybody to keep them up. And caught here a little bit.
Well, Carrier might be dead, ladies and gentlemen. No flash available, and so he is going down. Kanavi, of course, is going to use that to go even further in, and Faker will be taken down by a Meep slap out of Delight. I mean, it is going to be Soul Point over to T1.
But can they do Baron? I think they can. Like, they have this Azir, like you were mentioning, doesn't have an arm guard anymore, but he's got the damage. Doran's going to pick up 3,500 assists, and he's going to try to assist his team in denying this Baron, but they're very late.
Yeah, let's see what more they can get. The Ghoulie Wall just to try and zone them away. As Zeus could be in a lot of trouble here. There's the bullet time, and down will go Ona. That should guarantee the Baron as Kanavi's on top of it, and HLE will be able to secure this. Still, they sacrifice Zeus for it. Emperor's Divide just barely picks up Doran, and he's not going to be getting 3,501 assists at the end of this.
Is this the best game of the year so far? This game is crazy.
I don't know. It certainly felt like one of the most back-and-forth games.
It's incredible. All right, Carrier's going to come over here and try to annoy Kanavi and defend this red buff, but the mid lane turret is down. Baron up for HLE after that play. The misfortune value was there, and finally Guma takes a pretty big lead here over FaZe. I mean, at this stage of the game, 500 isn't that much, but he gets a real lead. He's actually now extremely relevant. As this all starts off here with Carrier getting caught, and HLE turning to Baron, but we got to go back to live because it's one of those games.
Yep. Kanavi is Kanaviing one more time as Zeka almost dies to the Tibbers from Faker, but I think Faker knew that he was going to be dying there. And that is another pick. Doran still not up yet, and HLE with a lot of spare time and a Baron on top of that.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of game where we got to ban replays because there's always something happening in live.
Yeah.
Zeka gets his Zhonya's, so no longer a broken arm guard, sitting on 3 items on this Azir. They take a significant lead here.
And the thing that really has taken a hit, Wolf, is those early game stats that we had from HLE. Because in a deficit throughout most of this game, but have been able to turn things around and have now found their largest lead so far in the game.
Absolutely. And it's really only Doran. I mean, it's actually factually only Doran who has a lead here now for T1. But they're just going to group and start sieging these turrets.
Delight just really, really likes pressing Magical Journey. And he does it again. And he's actually going to be fine. Ona gets the fear onto Kanavi in this mid lane, but that is a lot of damage onto Gumayusi. This gets comboed by Faker. Goes down to 50%. Does have Bloodthirster though, so should be able to get that health bar back up to a decent level.
The siege is real. They need to be careful about overextending though.
Yeah. Zeka able to get out of the way of the Chains of Corruption. Really nicely done there. Doran opportunistic.
Life Esports, you know, I mean, Kanavi's up 2 levels. He's got a lead. He had a lead early on in the game and has really pulled ahead in experience now as they start to take all the jungle away.
Kind of ridiculous that Zeka has the largest lead in the game.
Especially with how this game started, but he's done so much damage, and this Azir pick is so important for what Life Esports are trying to do in these scrappy fights, and has been so instrumental in being able to, for example, set up the Baron. That got them this really huge lead in the first place, where they were able to get that pick onto Keria, and then with his damage, start the Baron and threaten that turn. And now T1 kind of have to huddle. Like they have a Nocturne, but it's difficult to paranoia. It's difficult to actually find a setup or engage because it's Nocturne and Karma. They need the Annie to be in position to set this up, but she is just so fragile right now.
Well, Faker was waiting for an opportunity there. Running pretty fast as Tempered Fate is going to be thrown down for fun. The siege is on. They do manage to get the Crystalline Overgrowth, and there is more plates falling in this mid lane. Doran coming on over though, and I think that Kanavi didn't really want to go for that 1v1. As HLE, Baron wears off, and they are just going to back away. 3.6k going to be their advantage, one of the largest leads in the game so far, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and now for T1, you have to really just keep your focus on this dragon. If you can secure that Mountain Soul, it's going to be huge for you. And if you can win the team fight around it, obviously that would be even better. But they have Varus, right? It's not Gumo who's piloting it for his steal, but they have a lot of different ways to secure this. They have all of their flashes. You know, this is going to be potentially the game-deciding fight here. You see some frustration on the T1 player cams here because this game felt so much more in their hands.
I thought it was because Pays built Ghostblade Stormrazor.
No, that was just frustration with you on the caster cam.
I imagine Orcs is probably also a little frustrated, but I don't have confirmation of that, and maybe this space will let us know whether he is frustrated.
T1, no prio here, so it's tough for the Nocturne, again, to get access to the targets. They want Guma and Zeka on the left side here, but so well protected. Delight's ultimate comes back online here. All flashes are up in this game, and this might be the final team fight.
Could be. Delight taking a little bit of a chunk there as the flash forward from Faker. They don't manage to kill Delight though, and Faker goes down very, very low. Bullet time onto just the Annie will secure it. And Kanavi still has GA and doesn't actually get it popped. Gets out of the way of the curtain call, and HLE were looking for even more. But I think just denying this soul could be a big deal. As never mind, Zeus has winning the game on his mind.
They're going to do both. They're going to get this dragon, but also get this inhibitor turret, force a big reaction out of T1. There's no contest of the dragon whatsoever, period here. And they end up just getting both wins on the map. Of course, both on the bottom side of the map, but a far distance away from each other. It looks like just a bit of a miscalculation here with Faker's play on trying to get Delight. He takes that chunk. Faker sees his opportunity to flash Tibbers. The follow-up is there from Pays, but they don't have the damage. And Kanavi, watch how he plays this. Turns onto Doran. Faker's killed by the ultimate here of Guma, but he makes sure that Doran can't get an angle to layer any damage onto the rest of the team, and T1 just have to tuck tail and run.
And Kanavi as well, nice footwork to avoid a lot of those bullets as well. Keeps his GA intact. 3-1 and 11. 100% kill contribution in a game like this is kind of disgusting.
It's a 31 kill game.
Yeah. And he has been there for all of his team's kills and has only died once.
He's only a level behind the York.
My goodness. Well, Paranoia comes down. Immediate flash out there from Guma. As Cataclysm comes on forward, Ona still had his flash up and available, and he may need to use it as he does get inspired. There is the Tempered Fate onto only Keria. As HLE, a lot of buttons on cooldown, but T1 can say the same.
It's so hard for T1 to play this comp without going in. And every time they go in, there's a consequence, right? They're not getting the picks they're looking for, and the turn is amazing. And now HLE are like, thank you for the setup for Baron.
Well, Zeka needs to be over there as Pays might be able to find an angle here towards Zeka, but he does just fly away.
Doran TP.
Yeah, and this Baron is just gone, ladies and gentlemen. There is nothing they can really do about that one. Still, Ona, without his ultimate yet available, Carrier just barely alive as well as the Maiden getting involved. Deadly Flourish, fantastic, onto Zeus, and he will just be sacrificed. The curtains are being called here as well as they're in the shooting gallery. HLE just staying in the fog of war as best they can, though, as Doran moving up behind them. And they are getting corralled. Maybe this Sun Disc will be enough to help them out. Azaeus, no teleport to join after this 45 seconds either, if they can buy that much time, which would be really, really difficult. Zeka looks for the angle as Carrier flashes out of the way. Ona will be able to get his Zhonya's, as that was such a weird play. The Emperor's Divide onto the Varus to lock out so much of the damage, and Pays is dead as well. Down goes Ona and HLE. The 4 versus 5, they're looking to try and win it anyway, as Kanavi will be able to help lock down Carrier. And the Tempered Fate just to look really cool before securing the ace. Gumayusi was already onto this inhibitor turret, and man, what an incredible game. But in the end, HLE get their revenge and take down T1 in game 1.
A hard-fought win for HLE, and man, I don't know if Pays could have done more this game. His catch on to Zeka, the constant threatening, that was his first death of the game, and it will be his last as well. He's the final T1 member to die here. Their recent addition, but HLE with a commanding position through the mid game, and they played this game so differently than so many other of those Kanavi Jarvan games. They were patient. Their AD carry Guma, the MF was 0-3, didn't have a ton of agency, but they found their angles, they waited for mistakes, and they pounced at the exact right times. Despite Delight's early shenanigans, the deficit that they had, they fought back. And this was a unique win for Honda Life Esports that proves that they don't always have to have the snowball well and truly rolling down the hill to have a dominant mid-game performance against a top-tier team like T1.
Absolutely incredible stuff. And I just want to say, HLE got 19 kills. That was Kanavi's KDA. Like, that is absurd. We are often used to seeing him go a little bit too far. He went just far enough in this game, and it was beautifully well played in order to get HLE back in it and make things happen, even after some crazy stuff happening in the early game. Delight just being all over the map, mostly places he didn't want to be. Zeka just standing there and dying for first blood. That was just so full of drama, and I hope that we get more as we move towards game number 2. After this short break, the Space is going to attempt to break down this one with only a couple of highlights, and then we will have that game number 2. We'll see you soon.
바루스 친 노공이야. 바루스 친 노공.
아, 바로 쓴다고? 나 구원 80점. 다 같이 집 눌러도
힙해 여기서 집.
아,
이거.
하나, 둘, 셋.
집 안 돼. 이거 집 안 돼.
잘 맞아, 이거?
여기 좀 봐줘야 될 듯. 아래 볼래 이거?
직접 보던가.
맞아.
잘 맞아, 잘.
천천히 해봐. 여기 좀 밀어줘.
바루스.
친 괜찮아 보이는데 이거?
진 잡았어. 좋아. 가져왔어.
야 끝냈다. 아래 봐봐.
아래 봐줘.
너네 가. 텔.
얼렸어. 다 했어.
나이스. 썰이야 초반에.
It was all said and done, and then Just a few mistakes, and suddenly Hanwha Esports snap up the win.
Yeah, things kind of fell apart. However, there is a game number 2 now, so we'll see whether T1 can draw this one out to a 3-gamer, which I think we all deserve. Let's be honest. Once again, T1 are going to be banning away the Aurora, the Ashe, and maybe then the Akali. If we are going to have exactly the same bans, Ezreal was the final ban for HLE. Does make a bit of sense there as well, as FaZe certainly a bit of an enthusiast of that champion, but instead of the Akali, they will take away the Vi instead. Said instead too many times.
So, I mean, so many broken picks are gone already in this draft because of the way it went. It's kind of wild. Caitlyn will get banned away, so a lot of these comfort picks make a lot of sense. The Vi, the Aurora with the Ashe all make sense. Jace stock's kind of up because the Yorick is gone, but I don't think you necessarily want to pick it early in a draft like this, or maybe even at all, because it has run into problems with Sion, for example, as well. First pick is so difficult. I'm surprised T1 even went with it in this draft here in Game 2, and they're going to go for the Milio first pick?
Wait, Milio first pick, but then you can play Lucian with other stuff.
Yeah, is it like, is FaZe baiting because he's going to play Milio Aphelios like the old days?
Could be a thing.
Because Guma, he already proved that he loves to play the Lucian. He's still very good at Lucian. He's incredible at this pick.
Yeah, and
this feels like a bait, right? It feels like they want him to play Lucian.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they want him to play like Lucian Nami or something like that, which isn't necessarily as good of a lane. But I
see what he's going to do. They're going to get the Xin for Kanavi first. They used all that time because they knew they were going to lock Xin here, but they use all that time to discuss what they want to do with their bottom lane. And then they can reset the timer with a lock-in of the Xin.
And let's see whether it is going to be a bottom lane lock-in or whether they are just okay.
Lulu is available.
With the Milio Lucian.
And you could just go for a Yunara pick, but they're locking the Lucian. They're slamming it down. They're accepting the challenge or walking into whatever T1 thinks they're setting up here.
This could be a T1 trap that
I think it is, right? Like, it's got to be. But is it just Milio Aphelios, or what else? Is it going to be FaZe pulling out the Jinx here or something
crazy? Is he going to play Kog'Maw again? That'd be fun. I don't know whether it'd be good with Milio, but, I mean, it's a thing. It kind of needs Lulu, as far as I know.
If with other teams, I would see this as a huge mistake to go for the Milio first, especially with Guma on the other side, but we knew there's something in this. And, like, if you're confident in your Aphelios, I mentioned it earlier, FaZe has had some great performances on it before it fell out of the meta. You can just go, all right, I think we win this, by the way. And FaZe had such an incredible game 1. It was insane. So I'm kind of hyped for seeing how this one plays out.
Yeah, me too. And I'm very interested in what Delight is actually going to play in this lane as well, alongside the Lucian, as Faker picks up the Twisted Fate. And that is going to be unanswerable if they are going to lock in a support. This could be a support, or a top laner, or a mid laner. That is mostly going to Zeka. He has a pretty cool skin on that one.
Quite formidable into the Twisted Fate, but also, depending on the timings, can just be shut down by a cold card. You got to use your Shroud well.
Yep.
I want to say this is a flex. Let's wait and see. It is also a fairly good answer into a possible Doran Twisted Fate on the top side, if that ended up being the case. I don't think that will be, but something to keep in mind. We have seen in the years past.
I'm a little bit worried about the whole Lucian situation, though, because you do kind of need specific support.
Well, yeah, you need a Nami. You don't have Bard in this one.
Imagine if they ban Nami Sona. It would be very funny.
Like
theoretically, I mean, there are other things that you could play with it. Yeah, exactly right.
But Yumi
like, there
doesn't
are other
feel
things
great
on the list.
Here. Let's see what they do. This is quite interesting. Now, with Twisted Fate Pantheon, all the global power that has and the CC they have to line it up is just too much. That one needed to be banned. Rel is going to be taken away. That's a pretty Delight-specific champ that I think almost literally no one would play but Delight with the Lucian in the lane.
Yeah, pretty out there. I think Polu would have done it, but he doesn't play anymore. So I guess he's sort of off the list.
Do they ban Leona? I don't think so. I mean, also, Leona's terrible into Milio because she just, all of the stuff she's trying to do, Milio says no to.
Yeah, this just doesn't fit with what Lucian wants to do.
Could just ban Lee Sin again. Okay, they're going to ban the Jace with no Yorick response. They don't want to play the Anivia top into it necessarily.
Yep, looks like, you know, it could be a Zeus pick. Obviously, this Anivia is very flexible.
Don't forget that, like, if the Anivia does go out, like, Zeka could still play, like, Silas into Twisted Fate. There's a lot of potential here in this draft for Hanwha Life just yet.
I have heard that Zeka is pretty good at Twisted Fate.
Anar is banned.
Oh, is it a Renekton angle? That's the question.
Alistair Lucian just really doesn't have a ring to it that I've ever heard. It's
Alusta? Yeah,
it's like a sound that humans can't hear. The ring that it makes.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It annoys dogs everywhere.
The only ring is the one in his nose. That is Pike, Blitzcrank, Lucian, Senna, and it's going to be the cow.
All of those,
okay.
I felt good about the Alistair rotation until they flipped around all of those, and then I started to feel like they really didn't have a plan here for locking Lucian plus question mark with Emilio coming through.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Lucian Alistair lane.
I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of when Keria, wasn't it in Game 5 against Dirix, they banned the Lux so to prevent Keria from first picking Lux in that game in the World Finals. Felt like that was the situation they wanted to prevent, the one that's happening right now. As Sion will get picked here as a very safe pick for Doran in the top lane.
Yep. Something that, you know, could run into some issues with an Anivia that gets sort of out of control as Ona thinking about going for the Lee Sin. I mean, the setup with the Twisted Fate is very scary, and now he's grinning because Keria is hovering a Jax for him. Be a little bit of fun there as well. You actually have a really nice matchup into the Xin Zhao that really does like to get those auto attacks down, but instead
is too free with the Twisted Fate. It's just so easy to play it out. And they have such a front line for this Aphelios. And like you said, it's owner, it's comfort. I mean, comfort doesn't do it justice what it is. It's pure dominance.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's a pick here that saves this draft for me if I'm watching Hanwha Life. And also, like, this is not a Kanavi, this is not an HLE draft with the Lucian, Alistair, Anivia.
That's a Gwen, and that'll be locked in for Zeus. Pretty good at cutting down tanks, obviously, but I'm feeling like this HLE draft may have cooked a little hard.
I think it just kind of ran out of ingredients. Doran, his itemization becomes very simple with an Anivia and a Gwen on the other side, as the Lucian is looking for other targets. The Lucian attack damage is looking for killing the priority Twisted Fate, or if he's lucky, killing Pays on this Aphelios. Pays Aphelios is two words we would say together a lot at the beginning of his career. It was one of his best picks alongside the Zeri. And yet, we haven't seen it in a really long time because Aphelios has really fallen out of the meta. We thought maybe it would come back with role quests and how good they are for Aphelios at the beginning of this year, but it just never really eventuated here in the LCK. But they get this Milio first pick. They trust Pays' Aphelios. They deny the Milio from the Lucian. And unfortunately for Hanwha Life Esports, they wanted to put their prio elsewhere and did not give a strong lane partner to Guma. So now we have this Alistair Lucian lane that I'm not ready to trust in right now. I mean, Hanwha Life Esports have pulled rabbits out of a hat a few times this season. I just don't know if I'm seeing the ears right now.
Yeah, I do. Like, there are some things that I really like about the Alistair pick, just because Milio is really good at mitigating stuns and things like that. Knockup's a little bit more difficult, but like you say, the lane is going to be real rough. Let's see how it goes as we get onto the Rift for Game 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 2. And I have to say, after the draft, I'm feeling like things are looking good for game number 3. However, HLE played a really, really nice mid to late game in game number 1. And this composition, it does have legs, right? There is a Gwen that's going to be very difficult to kill in side lanes. It's the double circle composition with the Xin Zhao Gwen combo. And it's Kanavi on his Xin. He is very, very good at this champion. I'm just looking at T1. They've got an Aphelios for the late game. They've got a Sion to stand in front. And they've got Faker to control the mid game as well on this Twisted Fate. And he was doing that on Annie. Now he has the ability to kind of be everywhere.
This is the first Anivia game for Zeka. It has been played 3 times by Zeus for Hanwha Life Esports, but never by Zeka. So that shouldn't come as a shock when you consider that Zeus is one of the first top laners alongside King to play it in the LCK, and also that it just doesn't really suit Zeka's playstyle all too much. He likes to play the melees, he likes to play a little bit more explosive stuff, as we saw with the Azir in the previous set. Doing a lot of damage with this Electrocute here in this trade, though.
Yep, does very well there.
We've seen only really one player play Anivia like it's supposed to be in a dive comp, and his name is Chovy. We've seen the crazy walls, the aggressive flash Qs.
I have to say, Scout also had some pretty incredible performances, really making it look like a hard counter to the Rise, as we saw earlier, as Kanavi
Level 3
just
Kanavi. Who could have
flashed
seen
over the Dragon Wall, and Delight looking to taxi in, gets the flash pulverize, as FaZe, realizing that he's going to have to take the long exit. Gumayusi flashes away from him, flashes after him, and picks up first blood.
I mean, this was something that, and it's crazy to say, is the echoes of a retired player here, but something we'd see Peanut do all the time on picks like this, flashing the Dragon Wall, expecting the ward to be there, because FaZe and Keria did their due diligence, right? Well, maybe not enough due diligence for a player like Kanavi, but they had the ward and the tri-brush. They felt safe. They felt like they had enough space here, but Kanavi circumvents it entirely, as you mentioned, with the flash over the Dragon Pit. And then Delight sets this up, and FaZe is just like, well, I gotta sacrifice myself here. Wants to get a flash out of Guma. Is able to get that with his, but definitely a huge loss here for T1 in this play. And once again, Kanavi popping off. As you can see, these are the first picks of 3 of the players, including Delight.
Yeah,
on this Alistar.
Crazy. And it was only very recently that Gumayusi went back to this Lucian as well. As you mentioned, was in their previous matchup. Had a bit of a pop-off performance there. As wow, T1 have been pretty successful on these ones so far in the LCK. But it's a good start for HLE in this game. Moving up to a 500 gold lead. Still going to be opportunities, I think, for T1 to be able to make that up, especially with Faker just getting more gold in the mid lane. Will be able to help mitigate it. However, on the top side of the map, I think that Doran's woes will continue from now until he's not playing Sion anymore.
True. That's not, he's, the Rejuve bead in his inventory is just like a collector's item.
Yeah.
He's got.
I mean, he's going to get a lot of value out of it, because I don't think he's going to have all of his health for very much in this game.
This matchup here in the mid lane has been pretty fiery, but Faker obviously has his Twisted Fate passive, but has a significant CS advantage at the moment as well. So,
Yeah,
pretty good start for him.
Really in a bit of trouble as Ona is spotted on some vision. Faker is there to protect, though, so it looks like Ona is just going to very comfortably steal this one away, can safeguard over to the Twisted Fate as well. As Kanavi has eyes for only the bottom lane.
Yeah, he loves this lane.
Well, there's the fire kick out from Keria, just to try and deter Delight from finding too much. As Kanavi has decided instead he wants to try and go toe-to-toe with Ona.
Now Faker may be a bit far up here. I think he's going to play respectfully. He does back away.
Yep, control ward going to get spotted.
Yeah, he's going to clear this ward, and that'll be the best he can get here, but good play there from Faker. Good scryer, or rather good response to the scryer, which spotted Owner. And yeah, if you're a Zeus fan, you're probably going to enjoy watching this. Doran, let's try to trade back here. This early Sion is very annoying, but now Zeus has ult, and if he can get past Doran's, might actually have even an angle for kill pressure.
Yeah, this is it's a scary time to be the Sion here in this lane.
Sometimes you even just tempo ult Sion as the Gwen and say, see you later. They are going to get this first dragon. The prio they have in mid right now as Faker's backing away. Owner could look for a steal, but Delight's trying to deny.
Yeah, Hex Flash to get Delight over there, and we'll be able to find Ona. The Tempest Cripple does come on down as the headbutt over the wall is going to fail from Delight, and the Destiny is going to come on through. The Dragon still hasn't been taken. Decent Pulverize there as well to try and create some space as Kanavi is now just dead. Ona's able to lock that one down as Delight just really confused about where to go, and Faker is just going to be able to follow him here. Finally picks up the kill, was giving FaZe an opportunity to get it,
yeah.
And Faker's like, well, I'll just kill him.
They wanted FaZe to have it so badly. FaZe ghosts as well, but ultimately it goes over to Faker. FaZe doesn't even get the assist.
So much wasted time here for HLE as well.
The beginning of the fight, I thought, wow, Delight's making such a critical sacrifice here to get the dragon stack. And Kanavi was like, whoa, 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 I could kill champions.
Forget me off this silly dragon.
Dumb dragon. It's a mountain dragon. I heard that's a defensive one.
We don't want those.
I was like, watch this until he's like, okay, I'm going to keep Owner at bay here, get the information, gets the knock up. And Kanavi's like, hold up. We could fight. Just drops the dragon here. Twisted Fate has his ultimate available. This is very silly. And also the Anivia early on in the game just cannot offer that much damage. So Zeka puts his ult down and they just completely ignore it. FaZe wasn't even here. And he's trying desperately to be here, but
He ghosted, tried to like get that Infernum Q to land, and that didn't work. And so Faker is able to just lock down the kill with the gold card. Kanavi gonna get tagged by Ona here as well, who's gonna steal away the Raptor camp and then gets the safeguard and kickback. Faker moving on over and is just gonna get stunned as he shows up. The flash out from Kanavi as Zeka might be going down to the egg, but it's Zeus that shows up to pay his old teammates a visit. Good flash from Faker to deny the flash engage from Delight. HLE do even out the kill score, but this game is crazy.
okay, well, there was some missed things there, including my call because it wasn't a true insect from Owner as he used the safeguard and not a flash. But Faker also very low.
Wait, hang on a second. Faker
Dead?
is gonna have to heal and will escape.
Both times he out-tracked mana from Zeus. Or from Zeka, rather. Game 1, he was like, I have enough mana to kill you. He's like, you don't have enough mana to kill me. No. Owner uses the safeguard here, hop to get the kick, and then uses his flash after Kanavi gets away to try to actually push Zeka into egg here with Faker's gold card. Zeka actually, though, does get the egg proc, but then he has the wall right before that to lock Owner down. So Owner dies for this. Delight tries to make a play and unfortunately is not able to connect there. So it looked a little bit silly, but we're now even in gold. We're even in kills. And it looks like game 2, at the beginning we were like, I'm not sure if it's going to be as epic as game 1. Looking like it might be heading in that direction.
And the thing that it would be really crazy if HLE managed to win this game, it means that they are still plagued by the Gwen, even if now the player that lost to the Gwen when they were playing against Bin is the one piloting it against them. Oh my goodness, it's just too many layers. Zeus is looking in a really good spot right now. 800 gold in the lead over Doran. Obviously Doran is still going to have value. He is a Scion. But if the Gwen gets out of control...
Faker's lead is pretty huge at the moment here for T1. I agree with what you're saying. Like the side lane power here for Zeus could be massive, especially if they get all these grubs. And right now it looks like that is going to be the case. Faker does have his ultimate, but doesn't have the prio to actually get over there and do anything about this. So the Gwen pick, you're going to lead to the grubs and then empower her in upcoming sides. So for T1, I'm mostly curious about whether or not Doran will be stable enough in this game to be the front line that FaZe desperately needs to carry.
Yeah, and I think if FaZe is able to play the game the way he wants, Scion just needs to exist. You know, maybe don't go 0-9, but like that's all that you really need to worry about. And right now, 0-0-0 falling behind a little bit in farm, but that's not too bad. And might even be able to grab a kill as Ona just barely not in the mist. Oh, that was not exactly what they wanted to see as the needlework comes down, just dashes away from the Sonic Wave. And Zeus able to outplay it.
Silly. All right. Bit of a whiff there from T1, even though the opportunity was quite high. And Zeus outplays it. And Faker continues to be bullied and yet be ahead on farm. He's got his catalyst, so he's like, yeah, you can try to whittle away at my health, but I really just don't care about it.
He's having a very good time on this Twist of Fate. As this was picked, I believe, was it face up? No, it was not. So the Anivia was already there. Obviously, we didn't quite know where it was going. But the TF feeling like the answer that Faker was looking for into this pick. Zeka is, you know, still doing fine. The problem is the stack deck will always make an even game state look very one-sided, and it's not especially even when he gets a kill.
Yeah, he has a kill, he has the farm lead, so even more stack deck. Good news for Hot Life Esports is Zeus and Kanavi have just gotten their first items in the Riftmaker and the Sundered Sky, so a lot of power for the next fight here, which could be happening in about 20 seconds time on this Dragon. D1 have prio here on the bottom side, but not in mid. Kanavi's coming down here to look for a potential pick. Owner's going to clear vision.
Ooh, Faker is going to get stunned up. Good wall placement there from Zeka to get that trade working out. Still takes some wildcard damage on his way out. Q connects onto Kanavi, but that is not one that Owner wants to go in for.
I think it would be unwise for T1 to heavily commit to this fight now that FaZe doesn't have red-white anymore. His red gun expired, and he's on Calibrum here now, and this is going to be a Twisted Fate that's kind of pinned down. Could try to ult his way to the fight and kind of cheat his way in, but I think Hot Life Esports is prio in control with this Lucian on Essence Reaver right now. It's just not a fight you want to take in any world.
Well, they are still hedging.
Oh, I mean, Owner is on Vision. He gets the Q.
Yeah, connects that one. Delight is just ready to intercept, though. There was no way he was making his way in. And Kanavi gets a nice smite to lock down that Drake. Cloud Soul, once again, thank you, T1. Always so good at delivering Cloud Souls. I feel like we just haven't had very many.
It's
so far
crazy.
this week.
Every time I cast with you, it happens with T1 specifically.
It is specifically T1. Oftentimes, it is Mountain Infernal and the Cloud. This time we had a little bit of an Ocean, as Faker is going to get stunned, but not in the Glacial Storm and behind the wall. So Zeka doing a few things negatively there, but Owner does not. Does just find the kick as the Pulverize connects onto Owner, and the kitchen sink comes down on top of him. 3 Talon Strike is going to allow Kanavi to grab that kill, as now Owner might just be dead as well. Pays turns up on the top side of the map though, and Zeus is looking to try and turn it because he knows he is very dead. The flash comes through. Doran was already backing.
And finally, Pays gets a kill.
Down. Yeah.
Finally got that kill. Flanking Milio, helping secure it there. Skuma's got some extra free time down here on the bottom side of the map, but definitely a big win for T1. This game is just, it's constant back and forth. A little bit less kills than we had in the previous game, but the action is constant, as Pays is even going to get some extra plate gold, it looks like they're on the top side of the map.
Yeah, got 2, thanks to the Crystalline Overgrowth.
Really huge.
And Hex Flash from Delight, and Kanavi is back once again. Flash comes out, at least the gold card is going to be there, but this time the wall is true. And Zeka even has egg, so he is never going to die in that instance, and another kill goes over to the Zinzao.
Well, the problem with this egg for T1 and this play here in terms of trying to knock him out, but in the previous play where Owner was trying to play aggressively, is that you don't really have kill pressure on him unless you're in a really commanding position. But trying to kind of like steal a kill onto the Anivia isn't going to work because you're at best going to get the egg with heavy consequences. So Owner tries to opt out. I don't know if we'll have a replay of it or not, but just was not really, unfortunately, for T1 a great angle. On the top side, though, they were able to salvage it and get that kill onto Zeus. Doran survives. And yes, Zeus is still 800 gold ahead, and Kanavi picked up a second kill there, but T1 have some gold where it needs to be, right? The Twisted Fate is naturally ahead, but Pays pulls ahead of this Lucian pick that just has not really gotten off the ground just yet. Doesn't mean it can't, but T1 have picked their battles pretty appropriately.
Yeah, I would agree. I do think that it is very scary that Zeus has a lead like he does. I just don't see the answers to a fed Gwen.
In this draft, yeah, it's pretty... We're kind of missing it.
Yep. So, Faker, of course, like you say, big lead for him, but a Twisted Fate, do you use that gold? All that, like, his kit is kind of built around always being ahead in gold, like that's how he's balanced.
Yes.
So it does make this gold advantage for T1 just feel a little bit fake.
If T1 had a bigger lead elsewhere, it would feel like, okay, Faker's going to get his rapid fire cannon faster because of this lead, and so therefore they can be more oppressive. But their composition is playing into a Gwen. They don't have the tempo lead on the map because they don't have a strong side lane setup. If they had anything but a Scion with the Twisted Fate, you'd feel like, okay, well, they can make side lane plays. It's not going to happen in this one without a lot of resources being committed, like we saw when they did just kill Zeus there on the top side moments ago. But there's a turret up there. That's not going to be around for too much longer, and that's kind of where Zeus wants to be, is next to the turrets right now. I like the Aphelios angle, though, for where Pays is set up to be. Yeah. HLE are going to look for this Rift Herald, which would be further turret damage here on top of the grubs they already picked up for the Gwen. And it doesn't look like T1 have an easy path to contest, and Doran is just too far away. It should be Herald going over with no contest, as Pays is trying to get some plate gold in the interim.
Yeah, he should be able to do that. Almost grabs that fourth one. But Gumushi able to hold on to that turret for now by eliminating the minions.
He's got 17 of that Severum left. I don't think he's going to have a full set for this upcoming Dragon fight.
Will only be double Dragon for either team, right? Going 1-for-1 on Drakes means that we don't have anyone really snowballing that one just yet. Still, T1 right now with vision control of the area based on a complete lack of any vision for HLE. As Zeka puts his Sork shoes together, they immediately upgrade. And Kanavi hits level 11. Getting a second point into that Crescent Guard is going to be a big deal moving further on into this game.
20 seconds on Dragon. For the first time in a while, T1 actually have a decent amount of prio for it. They push the Lucian away. Zeus has TP.
Oh, that was beautiful positioning for the Mist. Zeus is unable to get attacked. Faker taking a lot of damage there.
Yeah. Tier 3 boots here for Zeka now online, meaning he's starting to hurt a little bit more than he was earlier. And this Dragon is so pivotal for whoever gets it. And the fight is being set up right now As it looks like Owner might actually have an angle here with Faker.
Yep, Destiny comes down. Great wall to stop Owner from coming in. However, he just sort of bides his time. Stun does come on through, though, and the Glacial Storm goes down. That is going to deter them from the dive. There is the Rift Herald being thrown into the mid lane. We'll be able to grab a whole bunch of plate gold, but the teleport in from Doran, they are committing to getting this second dragon for themselves.
Like
Zeus, he doesn't have to.
But like I said the last time when they tried to kill Zeka, he's got eggs, so not the greatest target. T1 are going to hold this dragon, though.
Yeah, I actually think that HLE giving this up is a really good call. Kanavi says, well, I can just steal away the rest of Owner's jungle, and Zeus grabs first brick here at the same time. Interruption there onto Doran.
They got Doran's TP. They interrupt Doran, which is annoying to him, so that's going to buy them even further time. Kanavi is shadowing Zeus on the top side. Not that he really needs it right now, but he is actually going to waste some minions here. And Zeka is kind of weak-siding on the bottom side of the map here. Faker used his Destiny Gate, so he cannot actually make any proactive plays after they get that dragon.
Man, that's a big swing of gold.
Yeah, it's suddenly
more
just like
plate
that.
money. Is this just going to go down? Because they have the 3 grubs as well as this full minion wave. As Guma throws out the Ardent Blaze to get another Light Slinger, but that is just not quite enough to take this down. But man, it's on a silver platter now.
Yeah, and the bottom turret is taking a significant amount of damage as well from that Lucian push earlier on in the game. So 2 turrets here nearly for the taking for Hanwha Life Esports. FaZe is on IE now, though. And, you know, in the upcoming fight, he's going to be potentially quite large if he's set up correctly. As Doran TP'd in the last fight, but wasn't able to set up for a fight because Hanwha Life Esports opted out. But 5v5 is still incredibly strong here for T1, and it's going to take a little bit longer for Zeka to do the amount of damage he needs to, I think, in this game for him to outweigh the utility of this TF pick.
And there is all of the flashes up and available right now. The next fight that we're looking for is probably going to be in 3.5 minutes unless Faker gets closed in on. Kanavi is obviously very restless. You know, I feel like we haven't had enough kills in this game so far as he looks to get in on top of both Faker and Owner at the same time. Delight turns up, good kick to deny any re-engage, but there's the exhaust down onto Owner.
I think that's 2 more turrets.
And there is the fire kick. Immediately, Delight just goes in onto FaZe, but I have a feeling he might be going down. However, the Unbreakable Will makes him so safe. Gumayusi with the culling, looking to get on top of his former teammates as FaZe will get eliminated by the Lucian, but he goes down as well. Owner puts him down, and HLE, I mean, 1 for 1. I don't know whether they consider that exactly a win, and now they're looking for even more as Doran right in that front line, but flashing out of there immediately. The double pulverize onto Faker and Doran is beautiful, and over goes Kanavi as he goes in once again. Doran taken out at the same time, and HLE, they find that team fight they were looking for.
Delight with 1 more headbutt gets Doran zombie out of there. And Kanavi's so disappointed there's no wolves in there. Well, I said right before this fight breaks out, it looks like this is going to be 2 more turrets when this happens here, because look at Guma in the mid lane. He's pushing up. There's 1 plate left. They're completely abandoning the mid turret, and it's going to be so difficult for T1 to fight their way out of this. With the wave pushing in the bottom lane, I thought T1 just walk away, but instead they opt in to HLE's comfort zone here in this fight. Delight is so tanky with his ultimate, so difficult to kill. Now you're in a choke point against this Gwen. FaZe takes insane amounts of damage, and by the way, because Guma has that Prio in the mid, he can rotate over. It takes him a little while. He sacrifices himself to do enough damage here to where this fight is just going to ultimately become a wash. As watch these final moments here as well from HLE. Delight gets this angle here after Doran flashes away to get the knockup onto Faker.
Oh, Delight as well. That pulverize, absolutely
Kanavi,
gorgeous.
He's just able to follow over the wall, and Doran is left alone. They just picked this team apart. And the sacrifice of Gumayusi was absolutely warranted there.
I mean, so much of this T1 composition hinges around FaZe being alive, right? So you're exactly right. Guma just says, well, I'll die, but I'll take the most important player on the enemy team with me.
And like you said earlier,
gives them enough.
This Gwen, there just isn't really a great answer. Now they're looking for Baron here.
And Zeus does a number on the Baron as well, as Delight just looking to play interference. In goes Doran, but he gets knocked out immediately. That is the Baron secured, but the Gwen is down already. Faker locks that one up, and Delight is also dead. And 2 for Baron is probably not enough to help this Rebel Baron power play work out. As Gumayusi, he does need to go home, and Owner is not going to let him. He gets the smite down, and that is going to be even more kills over to T1. 4 for a Baron is absolutely not worth.
I thought he was going to get out of there, but Owner gets in. is able to get there close enough, smites him to stop the back, and down he goes. So only Zeka is the last one standing here. At least Anivia is pretty good with the Baron, but this initially looks like for Hanwha Esports, like they've kind of got this one on lock, but it's that last 4,000 health. Doran gets in here on a Kanavi, and they do end up getting the secure, but Faker shows up, and now Hanwha Esports have to fight their way out, but there's too much T1 on their side of the map, so they have to kite back, and they don't have enough members here anymore. The Anivia is cut off, and so Guma tries to recall here, and look at Owner. He's like, you guys got Kanavi, I got this. Yeah. Goes in, smites Guma, and denies his back, then kites away, so they can actually give the kill over.
And they should also get the inside track on this Dragon as well.
Pace is huge in this game now.
Oh yeah, red-white guns prepared at the same time, but HLE still wanting to fight for this, obviously. They're HLE. It's going to be Pace locking down the Drake as well as Doran is going to get walled off from the rest of his teammates, and the circles are getting set up to make sure that the follow-up is not quite there. Still, Doran tanky enough just to stand in front and lock down that Dragon for his teammates.
That Infernum visual comes out too, and HLE don't want any part of that. He does not ult, but he has the Infernum swap, and they just peace out, go straight to the mid lane, and try to, with the remnants of this Baron here that is held by Zeka, get some damage done, and they do get a significant amount of damage done. They get that whole inner, and it's just so point here for T1 on the Dragon. So a great macro call here from HLE to nope out and find value elsewhere.
Yeah. Still, I mean, Soul Point is a big deal, and Carrier going to have to flash to get out of the way of HLE. This Rebel Baron power play is still an absolute disaster for HLE, as we can see, as they look to rotate towards the top side. Only 40 seconds left to go, and I don't think they're going to find any more value, as Owner was searching for a little bit of an inroad here. Not quite able to find it.
Zeka
the wall is going to deny.
A significant lead over Faker in terms of experience, despite both rods completing. He actually just has a natural huge advantage. He's going to get level 16 soon. I just don't know if that level of scaling compares to what Paze has on the other side right now in this game. It is crazy what he has been able to put together. Faker's going to get this turret as well. Surprised that one's still alive.
Well, not going to be any more, as the Seraphs comes in immediately from Zeka as he does complete his second item.
As the dust settles, it's minus 3,000 on the Baron secure. And it's the window back into the game for Paze. It's a window back into the game for Paze. It's a window back in for Faker. By the way, who picks up that rapid fire cannon. We were talking about how that's the big one. Does have it here with the Lich Bane. And so, does the Lucian ever get to threaten anybody in this game right now? You dash forward, get stunned by Faker, you're dead. If you dash forward, get kicked by Owner, caught by Doran, who might be on a flank. It's hard for him to play the game, and Zeka, like I said before, is close to 16, but he's still just Anivia, and his damage is kind of conditional on one circular location, whereas Paze is like, I'd kill everybody. Maybe not the Gwen. And that's, I think, how HLE have to play the game now, is just run away from team fights for the next 2.5 minutes and try to get some side lane value here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in Zeus we trust, if you're an HLE fan. On the other side, T1 just very happy to play some front-to-back League of Legends, and so far, 1,000 gold in the lead. 2.5 minutes on this Soul availability for them as well. They can give up as many Drakes as they like, and the Baron is spawning just prior to that. So playing the map becomes so much easier here for T1 at this stage. I really do feel like the chances of that coveted third game...
That feels high.
Yeah, it's getting higher.
Feels really high here. I think the ways that this game go wrong are Paze getting caught somehow. Kanavi finds an angle onto him, gets on top of him, gets the knock-up. You know, the follow-up is there. Guma bursts, even if he gets Milio ulted. And when Paze is dead, T1's comp doesn't work, period. They need him to be alive. He does all of their damage. So if you can find and kill this guy, you can still win this game as HLE and close out the series 2-0. But easier said than done.
Yeah.
With everything that T1 have to peel for him.
T1 will be able to shove this wave towards this inner turret in the mid lane. It's going to buy them a fair bit of map control, but next wave will be conga lining in relatively soon. And a flank angle for Zeus gets spotted immediately, but the damage is mitigated as Paze puts together his red-white guns, full ammo on both.
90 seconds until Dragon. It's almost a little bit too early for those, but he is ready to do massive amounts of damage. Doran, again, the itemization quite simple for him in this game with the Anivia and the Gwen is a really huge brick wall.
Yeah.
So...
has actually been farming very effectively. Wasn't able to get quite the plate money that Zeus put together.
He's kind of helping shut down the Gwen. Not that in a 1v1 he'll win that long term, but he can survive long enough to where a rotation can happen. Faker can ult up and then shut down the Gwen, or Owner can show up and And then it's really tough for Zeus to actually continue the push. So he has not really been able to, outside of those obvious outer turrets, get real side lane pressure down on the opposite side of the map with the objective. And now this next objective he can't just opt out of because it's the Cloud Soul here for T1. So he can't just say, well, we'll give this one, I'll get the inner turret on the top side. He's going to have to TP in. And this may be the moment where FaZe pops off here on 3 items and cleans this game up for T1. Or Honor Life Esports kill him, maybe take the 2-0. And this is a really pivotal dragon fight. There's the TP from Delight with Unsealed, and eventually Zeus is going to have to join as well. Honor Life Esports almost like they want to threaten a Baron trade.
Yeah, that could be the option. Obviously, Cloud Soul is going to be very valuable as the teleport comes in. Immediately, Delight going to use that cleanse that he picked up immediately after that teleport in order to get rid of the gold card.
Doran's shield is almost taken out.
Yeah, gold card is going to connect onto Kanavi here. But HLE still keeping their health bars together as the Glacial Storm comes down. Decent stun onto Doran as Faker possibly in a bit of trouble. Good wall placement. Doran is the one that eats most of the damage. They want to just take down the front line where they can. Gold card is going to connect onto Zeka. Zeus just lying in wait. The Destiny comes on forward, gives them the full vision as there's the flank angle onto Kanavi. But looks like the fight is now breaking out on multiple fronts. Doran really good, just standing in front of FaZe, keeping him alive as Delight gets pushed away from the fight. Ultimate's now down on these bottom laners.
Beautiful
for HLE.
fighting from T1. They just chip away, and now it just feels like a foregone conclusion to try to contest this. Kanavi has Flash, but a steal I think is the best option. They're trying to look for Faker.
Yep, the wall is actually going to cut him off, but he still had Flash available as FaZe runs out of White Gun, but now has a very scary ultimate, although that's on cooldown. There's the knockup, but Kanavi just explodes. FaZe finds it. And Zeus now just trying to be the hero for his team. We know that Gwen is so incredibly important as Ona goes in, but might need to immediately go out. There are flashes just being blown left, right, and center. And it's Ona that has his up and available. FaZe able to get himself out of the way, and Zeus explodes! And now Zeka and Gumayushi just trying to deal with this. Sion, who gets a huge knock-up, interrupts the dash out of Guma, and he's just executed. The egg is going to get fried, and that is a clean ace for T1. Oh, I feel it. That game 3 right around the corner.
Right around the corner, and T1 said, in FaZe we trust. They said it in draft with the first Pygmalion. They said, you can take that Lucian. And in this team fight, I mean, it's a glorious team fight from start to finish. It gets a little bit long, so we cut parts of it off here, but FaZe does so much damage, and eventually we get to the point where Zeus is like, I have to try to make this call. I have to get on top of FaZe. If we can't kill this guy, this is just not playable. And that's the moment where he gets punished. Like, he just doesn't have the damage. There's too much damage otherwise. Doran, by the way, taking so much. Guma is not with him. If Guma's here with Zeus, maybe he sacrifices himself and they get that kill and Zeka could help clean up, but he's just not there. He's trying to kill Doran, and Doran's like, that's exactly where I want to be, is right in front of Illusion.
And Doran just came in and ate Honey Fruit right in front of him. He had 100 health.
And
oh,
if you can't kill FaZe in these fights, you can't win this game anymore, HLE.
And now he's got a shield bow as well, and so it's even more difficult to take down this Aphelios.
It's crazy, like, back in the old Aphelios days, you know, Guma played this pick a lot back when he first debuted on T1. We had items like Gale Force.
Yeah. And,
you know, the shield bow was a mythic item. It was way stronger than it is now. It's just now a normal item. And it's still like crazy how well they peeled for him, how well they played this team fight. I mean, this is a fed Gwen, was so ahead, just could not actually get the damage, could not get the kill onto him. FaZe is given so many resources in terms of how they're trying to peel for him, how he's positioning.
Oh, wait, Wolf. Do you think there's an angle for an Elder Flip?
Yeah, I mean,
think
potentially in 4 minutes' time. I mean, there's a Baron here for T1. They don't have amazing siege. They're playing into Anivia.
Because, like, it requires this to be the Chijijik Big Top, right? Like, we're going to need T1 to continue the circus instead of very cleanly closing this game out, utilizing this Baron in order to just push all these waves, like, shut HLE out.
Triple Cloud Dragon, Cloud Soul.
They run very fast when they R-button, as Zeus dashing around here, but this inner turret is well and truly dead. And now in this late game that we have found ourselves in, the Milio value is just ludicrous.
I just think that in order to win this game for Honor Life Esports, it'll take, like, if you flip the Elder, it means T1's made a mistake, right? Because otherwise they could just sit back and play the same way they did on that last Dragon fight. And if Kanavi gets a steal, but he's the last one alive. It doesn't necessarily work out. If they get the steal, though, or if they're able to secure it, if they get prio somehow, which is so tough because Baron is still up for 50 more seconds. The T1 have so much vision already. Like, yes, the Elder is a ways away. Hanwei Esports will have some time. They have good wave clear. If Zeka has Elder buff and presses R towards the enemy champions, they will all explode, including Doran. But I just don't think it should be possible, right, for them to wrestle enough control away. It's going to have to be Zeus who starts up as maybe a pick onto Faker. Could be a great start.
Zeka is also crazy, but there's a headbutt pulverized to deny the gate. And the storm is a brewing. Now Ona taking a full culling.
If they mess this up, HLE could end. They
Faker
need to be really careful.
a long time to die, but he does eventually go down. That's a big pick for HLE. I just don't know what it means for being able to pick anything up off the back
there's
end.
no
right?
Elder
like
for 3 minutes, but
yeah.
if T1 opted further, if they went full circus there and tried to turn that around while Faker was buying a bunch of time and then they got wiped there, or they even lost like 1 or 2 more members, HLE just pushed to end. They just end the game straight up.
Why does Doran have a 2-level advantage? That's insane.
Some things need to be observed a little bit more closely under a magnifying glass in order to answer, and I don't have one for you on this one.
I'll make sure I bring one next time.
He has spent a lot of time, you know, kind of alone in sides, but they're kind of a mystery.
Yeah, Doran actually just playing out this later game very, very effectively, only dying 1 time, just being that brick wall.
Offers him so many extra resistances now in longer fights too. It's the perfect item for him to pick up third here. And it even deals with Gumayushi incredibly well. As this scuttle, again, fairly early to get for an Elder that spawns in 2 minutes, but relevant. As both Giga critical objectives will be up at the same time here, albeit with about 15 seconds between them.
Pretty good timing for Gumayushi to pick up his Infinity Edge, but we are pretty close to Pays getting a GA on top of everything. And Faker has a very cool hat.
Setup with Zeus, by the way. If Pays moves too far forward and they get a wall on Pays, they can get his flash at least. They could just win the game.
Well, let's see. Fire Kick is going to disengage as Zeus looks to make his way in. The kick is going to get him out, but Kanavi finds the Crescent Guard as Pays just going to cleanse out the exhaust, and Kanavi just goes down. They tried to take this Aphelios, but he's still on full health. Doran now standing in the front line. The Moonlight Vigil is going to miss, but Faker finds the back line. It's a wild card that kills Gumayushi, and Ona is going to catch up to Zeka, procs that Zhonya's, and he's just going to see his death as the Anivia will go down. He'll take a Guardian Angel there from Lee Sin, but Faker is able to take out the bird. And Zeus, the last man standing, and is not going to be enough to stop them from taking us to game 3.
They said, I'm not flipping Elder. I'm going to see if I can steal this game away. They looked for the angle onto Pays. Kanavi, even though they did not find the angle, Kanavi says, well, guess I'll just send it. He tried. They made it very close, but ultimately Pays survives, and T1 will bring us to 3.
This is what we all deserved from this matchup as well, as Zeus will be taken down. Delight might also die, but he looks to just park himself on the fountain and look for game number 3, and we will get one as T1 just launch themselves back into control of this series. We'll see whether the momentum can bring them towards a game 3
I
win.
don't want to see any slander on that play from Zeus and Kanavi there, because they were so close to just straight up snapping T1's neck in an basically unwinnable game state. He found that pocket of vision with the Gwen, was able to hide there. If Pays steps even 1 inch further forward there, or if the follow-up is not immediate there from the side of T1 when they gets collapsed on, then he dies, and I think HLE just steal the game away. It's a 2-0, and the course of history has changed. So I respect the attempt. After it wasn't going to work, maybe Kanavi going in there wasn't the right call, but it was always going to end badly after they failed to kill Pays, and he sent it, and they almost got him, but almost is not enough. And this Aphelios pick, the first pick Milio from Keria in this draft, was a master stroke, and this Lucian did not ever get off the ground.
Yeah, Lucian Alistair just not quite working out. The ability to proc the passive is just not quite as high. Although, I mean, I guess when he goes in and does the CC, it kind of works. Delight found a couple of angles in that game, but it is time for us to take a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break down that T1 victory, and then we will have the final game of the night as T1 looks to see whether they can do it again like they did it in round 1.
보면 돼.
미드.
보면 돼. 빼자. 사줄게.
타워 아래.
사줄게.
빼면 돼.
짜오 노플. 짜오 노플.
빨리 해.
짜오 노플.
구도 좋아. 야, 뒷대 볼게. 천천히 봐. 천천히 그냥 앞으로 안 뚫려도 돼. 내가. 가운데. 아무래부터.
루시안 노플.
오케이.
잡았어. 잡았어.
이리 볼게.
야, 위에 보면 얘는 둘 다 끝났다 이거 미드.
미드라인 보이는
미드라인.
한 라인 가도 된다.
대포만 지켜도 돼.
미드 가면 돼. 야 잡아줘 근데.
막타 볼게.
그냥 올게.
나이스.
왼 이런 데 있다.
Lucian anymore. MF is gone. Jin is gone. So we'll see what he ends up getting in this draft. As guess what? They're going to ban the Caitlyn first. So
Interesting.
that's a surprise to me.
Yeah, banning it against Pace is kind of the odd one there, as I would have expected T1 to be the one taking that one away.
Is he angling for a bit of a weaker side AD carry here that scales better, other than the aggressor? Is the question we're going to find out.
Yeah, I'm feeling Yunara in our future.
I think so. With this Caitlyn ban, it's kind of, it feels like it's inevitable and Fearless with how powerful that champion is right now. And with some of the great tools gone, like the Bard is gone, you're not laning into Karma no matter what. So we'll see as the Orianna gets taken away from Zeka, Rise removed here. Pantheon is still available, actually, in Game 3 of this Fearless series.
Yeah, feels like that is probably the big pick here, but remember, Rumble is a huge problem.
And
the Ashe and Aurora were also banned every single time from T1 as well, but they had first pick, right? So they could be a little bit more liberal with where their bans went, and they are still banning the Ashe, as they just seem to not care about this Rumble situation. It's Zeus. They know that Zeus is pretty good at the Rumble, and they're going to ban the Ambessa to say, we're going to pick Rumble.
And this means that if they do ban the Rumble, then the Aurora is going over to Zeka. And in Game 3, I feel like it's kind of first pickable, you know?
I would agree.
It's so incredibly strong in lane. And it has been Zeka's, one of his best picks, in my mind, is tied together Hololive Esports' aggression so incredibly well. But they're considering other options here. The Jace, with no Sion, no Yorick. And it is Zeus, by the way.
Yeah, everything is being taken away that is normally a pick into the Jace.
Gwen is gone, even though it struggles into Jace early. It can be a big side lane threat that the Jace struggles to deal with.
All right. What is your response here, Doran, who cannot go towards his Ambessa either, which he has really just liked in general?
They're looking to take the Aurora here, and this has not been one of Faker's best, but it kind of feels like maybe Doran's going to be playing it this time around.
Yep.
So let's see what we'll see second here, because you don't get to pick, you only get to pick half of your bottom duo. If you do lock it here, this Pantheon will be the option. I actually really like this because it's strong into the Jace that's trying to apply that pressure top side.
Well, that is going to be the lock in here. Kanavi just scrolling through some options. Yeah, Belveth is probably it. That's what I assume.
Think so. I'm going to guess no on that one. I think Vi is more likely.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame.
But Zeka can play Ahri with this, and suddenly you have quite the formidable mid-jungle synergy there.
That is a good point, and Ahri stocks are also kind of rising here with, you know, 6 mid laners banned away both fearlessly and in the first 6 bans. The Akali, another option as well. Zeka, I have heard, is pretty good.
I like the Ahri more. They're both champions in the selector, so you can kind of scroll between them pretty easily. They will opt for the Ahri, even though the Zeka's Akali is good. Tough into the Aurora pick.
And now Faker might let us know exactly where this Aurora is going. Still feel like it might be his choice into the mid lane.
I think it kind of has to be a lock here that's going to tell us our solo lanes because of the lane setup here for Hololive Esports. You're not going to get half of your bottom duo.
Wow, that's a Xerath.
We've seen Faker pull this one out before.
Not sure about that one, but instead the Cassante is going to be a Gragas.
Okay, Faker's Gragas, by the way, if it is in his hands, because this could go several ways here, has been incredible. It has been very successful. He was the one who brought Gragas back into mid. So I feel like you probably want to play this top into Jace with the Aurora in the mid lane. Faker hasn't looked as strong on the pick, so I don't know whether I don't want to say I know for sure where these are going just yet.
Yeah, I don't really want to play Gragas into Ahri ever, is my first thought, but
He's got the sustain into the electrocutes and stuff. Like, it's not unplayable.
Yep.
It's an interesting thought. But again, probably going top lane.
Weirder things have certainly happened.
The Lulu ban here feels incredibly strong. And, you know, with T1 having pick priority, it would have been taken, I think, by them. So they have to ban it in Hanwha Life's case, even though it's actually probably stronger for their comp so far. So Nami and Lulu gone. Those shenanigans.
And I do...
Somewhere Valdez smiling.
Yep, yeah, exactly. One last ban for T1. Carrier's having a giggle. The Sivir will be taken away, as we are well and truly at the end of the 80 carry pool as well.
That looked like Carrier was like, I know Guma wants to play this, and I'm just not going to let him. Kind of knowing look, actually. Nico also banned away, so we're really thinned out in terms of range supports that can push a lane.
7 supports have been banned away, both with Fearless and the bans so far. So maybe that rel that kind of fits HLE's draft.
Carrier is just, he's giving knowing looks everywhere, as it looks like maybe it could even be a
Gragas support? Gragas support? Gragas Yasuo bottom lane?
I mean, it could be Pantheon support.
Hey, true. As Carrier's putting his jacket back on, I don't know what that means, but
I think it means he's playing Poppy in the bottom lane blind, and that's never a fun time.
True.
All right, let's see what Guma's got here for this bottom lane. Nautilus is going to come out here first, which is really flexible in this draft. They have so much dive. Like, it's single target blow up is out of control good. And he swaps to an old favorite for a moment.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We know what Guma's playing now.
Yeah, the Xayah Rakan certainly going to be a option here, as Gumayushi does really like playing the Xayah.
The last time he played it, it was just a thing of beauty. His callbacks of his feathers were incredible. This has been always one of his best. He doesn't play it all the time, but when he does, you can bet you're going to enjoy it.
What kind of player sees Poppy and is like, give me the Rakan?
Only delight.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of insane. I don't know whether I would ever recommend it, as Pays looking for the Corki, wants to play with a little bit more of that early oomph.
There's so much power in this bottom lane. So insanely strong.
Yep, seems pretty happy to do it as well. And never mind, it's going to be a Kai'Sa. Okay, we have got some diving happening here on T1 side, and they can create some real disruption with this composition, both with the Poppy and with the Gragas.
Gragas into Jace has always been a matchup that if you have even a little bit of jungle attention is so incredibly powerful, and you could just absorb the pressure really well with the sustain that Gragas is going to provide you. And your teamfight disruption later on is incredible. It can really mess up the kind of combos that Hanwha Life Esports are trying to set up. For example, if Vi ults, let's say, Pays, and then Zeka wants to go in and follow up, the Cask can just deny that follow-up and split the team in half. Same with the Rakan. Also, you could just body slam the Rakan while he's trying to come in if you're in the right position to peel. But it also works incredibly well with the aggressive plays they can look for with Pantheon. But I think in terms of ease of execution, in terms of meta, like both, I think you have half a meta draft and half insane comfort with the Rakan lane there with Guma's Xayah. If I had to stake everything on this final game, I would give the edge to Hanwha Life Esports. I think the draft just has so many strong parts. It's so known, and it suits their playstyle so incredibly well. This a little bit more freestyle, let's say, from T1. Worked out for them with the Aphelios, but we'll see what happens in Game 3.
I do want to say, Doran's Gragas is a certain kind of counter
MVP.
into Zeus himself. We'll see whether he can get that monkey off his back as we get onto the Rift for game number 3. All right, LCK Global Park kind of popping off here as the fans make their presence known. And here we are, onto the Rift for the 3rd game of this series. Our first game 3 of round robin 2, Wolf. And we could be on to a full streak of 3 gamers if we keep this up, as this was also the first of the round.
Electrocuting everywhere.
Yep, certainly a lot of that. As this has been a bit of an Achilles heel for Faker so far this season, as the Aurora hasn't really found too much success for T1.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been players like Chovy and Zeka on the other side who have really taken this pick and made it look like it is Z tier, as it is so strong in so many different matchups, and especially with an aggressive jungler like Kanavi, like Canyon, can be really, really strong. See what Owner can get done with this Pantheon. There's a lot of power in both of these mid-jungle duos here between these two squads. You mentioned Doran. I joked about the MVP robbing because it was Pays who, on a different team now, stole that away from him. And there might have been someone on the space who voted a certain way that made us very upset and had a very long argument at the after party after that finals about. But it was a good time, and Doran, I think, got his credit where it was due. Normally it's Doran against Zeus in these big best of fives where he has gotten the better of Zeus in matchups like this. Best of three, we'll see what happens here in this third game because this series has been absolutely out of control awesome. I mean, I don't think we can really overstate how awesome like the team fighting has been, the macro, some of the aggressive calls, like even in game 2, the ending of it was nearly HLE just winning it and taking the 2-0.
And especially when it came to the first game with just how crazy some of the moves were on either side. As HLE taking a bit of control here towards the bottom side, 2-0 for Gumushi so far on the year. And in fact, HLE are just undefeated on all of these champions. They haven't been defeated all that often outside of against T1 at the very beginning of the season.
Well, this is the stats that just popped up there is kind of what I was saying when I say with HLE, it's very known what they're doing here. And for T1, a little bit more flexing.
Doran's Gragas is really good.
Yes.
As we know.
Not this season yet. It's his first time this season. There's like a lot of these picks for T1, but historically.
And it was also one of the picks that, when he was back on Gen G, was a really big point, as Kanavi is going aggressive, ladies and gentlemen, to the surprise of no one. And Owner taking a lot of damage. Faker making his way over the charm! The charm! Catches him! Even after the flashes. Now Faker might be dead as well. Kanavi letting his fists do the talking, but it is going to be Faker that's able to walk away. Still first blood going over to HLE.
Doran, though, in trouble.
Yeah, Zeus looking for... Never mind, he's walking past the lane. Sometimes that is something you want to do.
Doran did not have really any mana there, but
Zeus also without very much health.
Looks like Doran's actually even going to stop his back here and catch this whole wave. So what Zeus was trying to do there doesn't end up getting the insane value he was hoping for.
Oh. Yeah, Carrier going in and Pays without very much health or mana. Obviously, this Poppy lane is going to struggle a little bit, and the Rakan doesn't really add too much.
No.
But when it is alongside Azaya, you do add that little bit of extra.
The Corki would have been
the extra synergy.
The Corki would have been so much better for the laning phase alone.
Yeah.
All right, look, we got to talk about Zeka just kind of skirting through here and getting this flash charm angle. Watch this. Watch Zeka. My God, despite the flash.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I guess he could have flashed into the pit, but
not a whole lot of great angles for Owner to get out there, but very unfortunate that even after the flash, he was still in line with the charm.
Very few things happen where you flash an ability and get hit by it anyways.
Yeah.
It's a straight line situation, though. Zeka so aggressive with that play.
And Zeus being so aggressive here on this top side as well. Has already taken one plate, is ahead by 450 gold at about that many seconds in the game. Which is just kind of ridiculous. Does have to flash, though, as Faker was rotating up, and they had Scuttle Vision.
Faker still has flash, and Zeka does not because of the previous play, which is in part why they could not kill Faker.
Yep. I also just want to apologize for not being able to count seconds very well, as Faker's caught by a charm. The electrocute comes on through as well, as Delight looking for an angle. Will not find it.
It's going to leave the supports to... or rather, Carrier, the support here to follow his opposition to the mid lane, and that means that we're going to leave the 80 carries alone. And so this early call buy makes a lot of sense for Pays. Doran's got ult.
Yeah, he's going to be able to find it there as well. Just delivers Zeus over to his former jungler, and down he will go. The answering kill there for T1. Looking real nice in the top lane.
Really impressive timing for that gank from Owner. And Doran doesn't miss. No Zeus, no flash from the previous roam, so get the good punish there, and we're tied up one apiece. Now, Hanwha Esports have a pretty significant lead with the laning phase with the CS advantages, but at least Doran and Owner will get that kill back, make it a little closer.
Yep. I think the fact that Kanavi picks up first blood as well, sometimes not being able to give that over to your mid laner in that little skirmish in the 2v2 can be a problem, but when Kanavi's ahead, I feel like HLE do find themselves with a whole lot more opportunities. The cease and desist comes down and Faker just slips between the worlds.
Yeah, but
able to get
still,
himself out.
Prio for HLE and Owner cannot get in.
Yeah, not going to happen. Does want to go for an opportunistic steal there. Voidseek was also in the air, but Smite is just too good.
I think without... Okay, we're going to watch this play first, though. Doran gets the slow, which makes it easier to hit this cask, knowing that Zeus doesn't have flash.
Nice.
Nicer indeed.
I think that the bait of the Aurora ultimate there from Kanavi is huge, as we're going to have another 2v2 down here.
Yeah, Delight running real fast after the heal, but is otherwise unable to find too much more.
If Faker had his ult in that fight, maybe that was the only way they could have turned it, but he just denies it straight up on that dragon. HLE get first dragon, have a lead really everywhere on the map right now, like you mentioned with the Kanavi First Blood. And it's so much comfort. The comp is simple. See if T1 can bounce back here as their comp has not really fully come online yet. Carrier?
Yeah, ulti comes on forward as Gumayushi holds on to the Featherstorm, and Ona is going to show up, but just a little bit too late. I think the birthday cake was already gone.
Yeah, significantly late, I would say, on that one.
Yeah.
It's almost like he didn't trust that Carrier was going to hit that, and then he was like, Carrier was like, why didn't you come? And he's like, okay, fine. But it was definitely a little bit past the timing.
Yeah, showed up to the birthday party and had to ask whether there's anything left in the fridge, which is always an unfortunate time to arrive. As the cask not quite going to work out as well as it did last time, but there weren't too many friends joining as Kanavi hiding in the brush. And will get spotted here by Carrier. Gets the ward down first.
Zeka is coming over here first with Faker TPs, and they decide to back away. I thought there was maybe an angle for Zeka to slide in there. His flash isn't quite up yet, just a few seconds away.
Man, Carrier is going to be so annoying in this game as Kanavi wants to start fights with the Vault Breaker, and it just becomes so hard when Carrier is always there standing in front. As Charm connects here from Zeka very nicely. Will find the true damage on that Orb of Deception.
That is probably just 3 grubs because of it, because there's just no way Faker with half health, I mean, his ult is just coming online now, could even contest, and he's in fact just kind of back. Okay, he stops his back. I was going to say, there's a big wave coming his way, so does decide to get money.
Yeah, good body slam to interrupt to the skies from Zeus, as another Charm lands from Zeka. Man, they are magnetized in this game.
He's very good at Ahri, as Doran is very low.
Yeah, Carrier coming on over here, and that means that Delight and Kanavi going to be having a weird time. As in goes Zeka, finds the Charm one more time onto Ona, who does have the Aegis set up, but that is still going to be the kill to come on forward. They look to take down Zeus, and they will succeed on that front, but Zeka is still just dancing around them. The minions get in the way, though, and that means that it is only the 1-for-1 trade. Probably not the greatest for HLE, as they did invest a lot into that top lane.
I think they wanted more than that. They wanted to get Doran, and it looked for sure like they would, but they ran out of time. Guma, though, and this is kind of the HLE way, is 4 people are diving somewhere, and Guma's getting money on the other side. This just happens almost every HLE game this entire year, even in some of their less great games earlier on in LCK Cup. But Doran takes a ton of damage. Kanavi is the one who absorbs the stun here, and they turn this on to the Pantheon, but Owner's shield actually buys just a few extra seconds, and then this play here from Carrier allows them to trade this one back, and with the turret spinning, there's just not enough damage here for Zeka. The minions deny him that follow-up second kill onto Doran. But like I said, you know, it's not just that. A lot of resources are spent, but Guma gets plate money. Guma gets Essence Reaver.
Yeah, he's very, very strong at this point in time. Zeus as well is unfortunately not Nogari, who would be very, very happy with a 0-2-0 scoreline. Zeus is not as used to it, as he is generally just dominating in any matchup on the Jace, unless it's into Doran's Gragas in the past.
Yeah.
So it looks like those demons are still there.
It is Demon Week.
True.
And there is an unkillable demon.
There is the Demon King in that mid lane.
He's 0 deaths, actually, right now, currently. He's
so
really
possibly
sticking with the
unkillable.
Theme. Yeah.
Just don't look at the stats for game 1. And that is all going to hold true.
Or his Aurora stats. But yeah, we'll see what he does, because this is still early days. It's a 2,000 gold lead, though. And this Kai'Sa is not great in lane, significantly behind. Has not been able to impact any team fights just yet, but there is a strong mid-game potentially here for T1. Let's see if they can set up a fight for this dragon, because HLE getting double dragon here with this comp and the lead they have would be probably a bridge too far. I just don't know if they can wrestle Prio back, because look at Kanavi's position. Zeka pushes Faker away. Owner has ult, but he's backing, and it just feels like this is going to be a free dragon here. There's a little bit of time for them to come over and try to muster something here, but it just feels too late. He gets Sundered Sky, he has ult, 3 seconds on Dragon.
Pickup. Like, getting that Sundered Sky was huge. For Owner, I just don't know whether they're quite going to be there in time, as there's the Vault Breaker flash right into the ulti, and Zeka is able to pick that one up. Now Owner turns up, but a little late, and in goes Delight to lock him down. Grand entrance and a dead Pantheon, and a double kill for Zeka on his Ahri,
So
debut champion.
Double Dragon, double kill! They're going to get double
dear.
Dragon off of this, and they didn't give Faker time to react. They didn't give Faker time to flash. Fantastic charged Q flash from Kanavi. Hits him first, and they just line up the CC. And then Owner is just a donation. It's his second Pantheon ult that comes way too late to impact the fight. And by the time by the time he gets there, Faker is dead, and he is just a sitting duck to be CC'd for the next cooldown for Zeka, who picks up his boots, transforms tier 3 with his role quest completed here with the dominance we've seen. Look at his advantage in quest over Faker's right now. Kind of obscene.
Yeah.
And it's Ocean Soul, so that's good for T1, because at least it means the Double Dragon means less. But I feel like that's where the good news ends right now.
It is problematic. The first item buy also coming through for Zeka is going to make things hard, as Carrier moves on up just to back up his mid laner.
He gets
going to keep him alive.
Malignant and the tier 3 boots here, and he's got 6 stacks of Darksteel, as Faker is sitting on a Hextech Alternator. As you can see in that exchange, did not really trade anything back towards Zeka. And it might just mean that for the rest of this game, it's tough for Faker to actually have an impact in sides. He's 1,500 gold behind.
Yeah, and there's also that big lead for Gumayusi as well, and Kanavi in a really good spot in this game. Once again, 100% kill contribution.
Faker has
he
flash.
goes in. He is able to go between the worlds, get himself out of there. Kanavi, without his ultimate up and available, is just happy to grab the cooldown of that ulti. As now Zeus wanted to lay the hammer down, but is not going to be able to get in range of Doran. Just a little lithe as the rotund man in the top lane.
Yeah, a little excited big man, but nothing going to come of it. As no ult for Owner still. I mean, if that charm for Zeka connects while Faker's trying to go between the worlds and he dies there, but I don't want to say this game is over, but it certainly would have been if he dies there. Doesn't have to flash. Doran is ultless, so we're going to see some action up here in the top lane. As T1 know they need to kind of hover around this potentially big bag of money Gragas, as Carry is up there.
Oh dear, there's another charm connecting. Is Zeka going to go all in for this one? Just avoiding all of the buttons that Faker presses. There's the flash in, finds the Orbit Deception, and gets the reset to get the solo kill. And 4-0-1 on the Ahri.
Okay, Delight's going in here as well. Carrier isolated. He is Poppy, so it looks like he might be okay. But this might just be first brick as well. HLE have that push with Zeka in the bottom lane. He could TP up to the top side too if they want to try to fight before he gets there. Like, he has so much agency in this game right now. He's not going to stick to the turret here. Doesn't have full information on where Owner could be.
He's going back. I think
he realizes now that he can.
As Kanavi was looking to go in, cease and desist is available. I mean, he's going to press that button if he does find it. There's the Vault Breaker.
Pays is dead, I think.
Over to Pays, and he does just get ulted. And Gumayusi, can he actually find the kill here? Great shield to come on through, and Owner is able to pick up the overextended buy. Pays played that right on the edge.
Yeah, so close to the edge. Doesn't flash. I mean,
that's great.
Just absolute resilience. And it looks like Owner's fixed his pocket watch as he's on time this time. And that's going to be a second turret to go down here, but still, at least they get something back. Finally, a punish. It just feels at this point too little, too late. As we'll go back to this play here with control vision. Faker checks it and loses his life for it.
And Zeka knew exactly where he was, able to pick up the reset, and then gets level 11 off that play as well. As now, Kanavi with his slight overextension, you could say.
I mean, it looks guaranteed.
Yeah, look at how low he goes. And Killer Instinct, then the barrier, just to make sure, and then just has some honey fruit.
Now, Guma didn't flash. I think a lot of Zayas there see blood in the water and flash for it, as...
Ooh, we do have the vision toggled. Zeus, a little overextended, you could say, as he goes down very, very low. Zeka now just looking for an angle, but Zeus is still alive. How is he still alive? That is illegal, as now Carrier tries to get the Poppy Copter going, and it is not going to get off the ground, and Faker once again finds himself in an awkward spot. The weirding is named correctly, and Zeka is going to lock down the kill.
I mean, I have the answer for why he's alive. Look at Faker's items. I mean, he just has the cannon now, but he didn't have it moments before. He is just so far behind. Hide on T1 Bush is his nickname, but...
Oh dear, there's the quickness on to Owner, who does put up the Aegis, but I feel like maybe he's going to be in trouble. Never mind, he will survive as Pays
Wrong side of the
trying to
map.
fight off Zeus here, who just goes to the skies and should be able to take him down. However, Pays stands his ground and then just gets shot in the face.
Yeah, it's Shojin's first for Zeus, by the way.
Battle Jace.
He is really, I mean, he is battling, as you can see. And unfortunately, I don't think there's anything left in this game here for T1. What was an exciting series may end with a whimper. Now look at Faker, he hits everything. But the Charm buys some space, even between the worlds, but he just doesn't do damage.
Oh, the party cast!
This is, I actually didn't quite see that.
Neither did I.
Alive.
Oh,
because that would have been Zeus dead for sure, but then Faker wants to try to catch him, but they know where he is. They believe that's Faker's third death on this Aurora this game. Didn't have the cannon, has it now, but also here, Zeus just is like, well, I have vision in the mid-brush, so I know you didn't go left. So there's only one place you could be. Very good at playing the follow the cup game in this one.
The Shock Blast was just so anticlimactic. It looked like Pays was like, oh yeah, I'm ready to play the game, and then dead. It's kind of how it worked. As Faker finally gets his boots upgraded, and unfortunately, he's behind 3,300 gold to the Ari with 5-0-2 as far as that scoreline. Zeus is just going to try and clear out this wave here. Great hammer boot to deny Owner's engage as the Void Seeker comes on through. There's a killer instinct for Pays, and he's able to help lock this one down. In the meantime, HLE are on the bottom side of the map. Zeka does get cast, but seems like he doesn't even really notice or care. Doran able to tank a whole bunch. Zeka just barely surviving, but the ramped up turret is going to be problematic. Yushi, hello? That is a Rift Herald just paying a visit to this bottom lane. Great double knock up there from Carrier as the Featherstorm is going to find zero value at all, and Faker comes in looking to see if he can take down his former 80 carry, and there he will go. Carrier finds a heroic charge, and Kanavi should be dead as well, and that's Owner locking that one up. This game may still be going.
Yeah, bounty gold for Pays on the top side here. Picks up a ton of plates. Pays is like side lane Kaisa in this game. Hasn't been spent any time in the mid lane, and this could not have gone better for T1. Like, absolutely insane what they're able to get off of this play. So this is the initial play on the Zeus. Love the hammer here to buy the space. Turret is ramping. Owner's got to flash away, and then the follow-up from Pays is enough to get the kill. So he gets all of that money before he gets the bounty later on. And then here,
the silliness.
Yeah, Doran casts, by the way, very early. Doesn't matter. Zeka's like, I got him, I got him. He goes, get him. Damn it, just die, Doran. And he does. And then Kuma's like, remember me?
Yeah.
Your former partner. And Carrier's like, yeah, I kind of do. Like, you're in the wrong spot. I'm going to ult you. You're between turrets. You didn't actually avoid my ult with your ult, and now you're in the wrong spot and you're dead.
And he ulted, like, he heralded through the T1 base.
Yeah. It was almost epic, and then it was very silly. It was his first death of the game, and Carrier's ult was not avoided by his ult, and they got some shutdowns. They got the bounty gold on the turret. However, still 4,000 gold behind. Still soul point here for HLE, even though it's an Ocean Soul. It's going to take a little bit more shenanigans from HLE, I think, for T1 to come back, or maybe some clutch plays from Pays, who takes a gold lead with the massive amount of gold he got from killing Zeus and that turret on the top side.
And we've also seen Kaisers really make things happen after picking up mid-game swings, right? And that's exactly what has happened here. Item number 3 coming in very, very soon. A huge spike for this Kaiser. And so I think that HLE needs to kind of tidy it up. No more weird journeys in Heralds, as obviously that is not going to happen again.
Yeah, I mean, that
vibe of
playing with your food.
Don't do it.
Yeah, playing with your food probably not necessary here against a world-class defending world championship T1.
Yeah.
Maybe
even if you do have one of the players from that team.
True, but he was the one who was doing the silliness the most.
He was. But he was also the MVP. So, I mean, it's just like swings and roundabouts. Okay. Zeka is just going to clear out this bottom wave.
So, Baron is up, but neither of these teams are in a position where they can start it just yet. Faker is still massively far behind, is desperately trying to get a second item, whereas Zeka's been able to get a Verdant Barrier.
Okay.
And he has 10 stacks Dark Seal. He's pretty huge. Faker is not going to be doing the main carrying in this game unless something goes crazy wrong for HLE. But I think for T1 right now, what you need to do is wait for HLE to do something that's a little bit too aggressive, do something that's a little bit too risky, and be ready to pounce, right? With your Pantheon, Gragas, and FaZe's Kai'Sa. And yes, Faker can layer a lot of burst damage on top of that, but it should not be Faker trying to kill somebody in the side. It should not be trying to play through Faker's burst because he frankly just doesn't have it right now. A lot of the time with Aurora, you're like, okay, I found Guma. Maybe I can force him to ult with like a weirding Q combo. Faker probably dies if he tries to do that in this game, so play through the other parts until Faker can be relevant later on. Play slow. This game is still winnable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's only a 4,000 gold lead at 20-plus minutes. That is certainly not insurmountable, as the Void Seeker will not find. Almost found, but did not find.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't quite locate.
No. And the Baron, up and available. 30 seconds on the Ocean Soul for HLE, though. And I think with a composition that can be a little bit tricksy, right, in what HLE have put together, the Ocean Soul could find a little more value.
I feel like it's great for T1 if they could get it. It buys them, I mean, even individual Ocean Dragons, it could buy them a little bit of space inside. So Doran's very sustainable, but denying the Soul is huge, and stopping the spawn of the Elder before HLE have the Giga lead. Because the lead is pretty, it was Giga, it dropped a little bit. They're close to getting another one if they can get a pick potentially onto Doran. He avoids the charm.
Yeah.
Muramana here is transformed for Zeus now. This Jace is very relevant in this upcoming fight.
Let's see whether they can find some poke, as that first Shock Blast does go a little bit wide, but HLE just wasting no time. They will start off this Dragon immediately.
So much control here to HLE. FaZe needs to find an angle. I think they're just going to give...
Yeah, that is just going to be the Drake down in the blink of an eye. HLE just utilizing all of that control of this river in order to grab that, and now they're looking to move towards the Baron as well. And honestly, starting up the Baron and then just moving away when you've got Ocean Soul is so much easier.
Delight has Cleanse and Flash. He gets to dictate the pace of this next fight. And it looks like he might want to do it a little early.
In they go. Kanavi finds the cease and desist as they look to try and get on top of Faker. He goes between the worlds, though, to get himself out of there. And speaking of out of there, Kanavi is over that wall, and I swear, without Ocean Soul, he's dead.
Yeah, he's so incredibly low. He's going to need to eat some honey fruit, but they might be able to start this Baron now because Faker took so much damage. He has TP, but he's going to take a little while. They are a little bit slow on starting this, though, so I think setting the trap is the better option. They know they have vision control. Guma trying to bait a little bit, but I think they're not selling this very well, and I think T1 are just going to come over here and look to see if they can find a punish.
Yep, Kanavi was on that Baron, but it had not taken very much damage at all. As you were saying, and HLE will back away.
Plays like this could backfire for HLE. It was a great hop over the wall here from Faker. Like, he pulls Kanavi in. Kanavi goes incredibly low. He said he barely survives, and you make a few mistakes like that, you're playing a little bit fast and loose trying to set up these Barons. Maybe T1 could get back in because punish play, like what we saw there potentially from T1, they didn't have the damage just yet. Faker just now getting his second item is maybe the dream scenario. Again, it's a dream right now. Maybe for T1 fans feeling like a nightmare as the Banshee's Veil is completed for Zeka. He is no joke in this game.
And the Infinity Edge was just done by Gumayushi. Yes, Nash's Tooth is there for FaZe, but I just don't think that it's going to be able to quite match.
They don't quite equivocate in terms of the damage power.
No, although, I mean, for Kai'Sa, it is a very, very good item. You get evolutions and stuff for it, and the W is going to be hurting, but just don't know. Zeka looking for an angle here as he does ult in. Catches Faker even through the stealth, but Faker is able to flash his way out. Still has to invest a lot.
He doesn't have TP anymore, so he can't just teleport straight back to the fight. Zeus, by the way, he does.
Yeah, Zeka also looking for another angle. Man, I mean, after some very strange plays in the first two games, Zeka has really locked in for this
HLE feel like they're a little bit confused on what they want to do in terms of starting the Baron, but also setting a trap. Like, Kanavi's like, we're doing Baron, and Delight is like, no, we're setting a trap. And you're selling the idea of the Baron so you can set that trap, but the follow-up wasn't there, so T1 kind of get away with losing most of Faker's health here, and the Baron is not started, and they buy more time. Like, the game continues. We're 3 minutes away from a potential Elder Steal that could miraculously get T1 back into this game. And at this point, it feels like that is the best possible scenario. Again, if somebody gets picked, if FaZe ends up getting on top of Gumayushi, they bait his ult out, there isn't any peel. Zeka goes in, tries to get a charm, and gets caught by the Poppy, something like that. I mean, there are ways for HLE to mess this up.
Oh, yeah. And really does feel like this game is still very much up in the air, despite the fact that HLE have a 5,500 gold lead.
It's T1's comp
nuts.
just has so many ins. Like if Keria ults 3 people off a Baron, you know, that could be it as well.
Yeah, lots of ins and also lots of get-outs for HLE. With the Poppycopter, the Cask, like things like this, there's so much disruption available.
This is a half-health Baron now. T1 are going to have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, Kanavi just here by himself wanting to keep the Baron interested. The Baron definitely is interested, but we'll now reset finally. Charm
This is such an HLE
barely
moment.
missing.
They're like, we could just get Baron, but we want to kill those guys. So let's just drop the Baron and then try to kill them, and then they run away, and let's try to use the Baron to kill those guys again. It could have probably just killed the Baron.
I mean, the Jace in the bottom lane is kind of what they were buying time for, as Gumayusi and Kanavi getting back on this Baron once again. Delight playing some defense. We're going to try and keep them interested. Zeka doing the same thing.
A little bit rockier.
Once again going to go wide.
A little bit rockier this time for HLE as T1 are grouped, and they're going to force the TP out of Zeus.
Yep, Banshee's Veil going to get popped there from Zeka, but they are staying on this Baron for now. Owner is over here. They get that vision that they were looking for. And there is Delight finding the quickness, but not exactly as much as he wants to. The buy is evicted from the fight with the Featherstorm. Keeps Gumayusi alive, and they take down FaZe. There's the 80 carry trade, though, as Faker gets into the backline, and it's Owner that takes matters into his own hands. Finally, it is Kanavi making his way back in, and there's another 80 carry here for HLE, and his name is Zeus, and he's got a big cannon, and he's not afraid to use it. Quadra kill comes through for the Jace, and they'll take a much better Baron this time around.
Keria, he has Smite and a Dream.
Oh my god, if he does this... No, he's not.
He's not
that
even going to
crazy.
try. It's not worth it. There's no way.
I mean, surely it's worth it.
Oh, yeah, nah.
Never mind. He's just going to play his battle pipes in base.
Watch Keria try to play this fight incredibly well. Like, he gets the knockaway of Kanavi, so now the Baron's off the table, and this burst from FaZe is there, but Zeka's charm. Look at this.
Oh my goodness.
He and Delight just say no. And then Faker just doesn't have the damage to clean up this fight, and they're so split. Poppy pushed into the bottom lane, and it's a kill there to go over onto the Pantheon, and Faker is just left isolated. You can see he can barely scratch the surface of these Fed HLE members, and it's a Quadra. I feel like Zeka did a lot of the heavy lifting there.
Yes,
but,
he did.
You know, Zeus was happy to kill the champions and pick up tons of money.
And
look, Zeka was already ahead enough.
Yeah, exactly. I think Zeus certainly needed the funds. As he
Zeus is like, look, we can both be 3,000 gold ahead.
And he fully completes his more of Malmodius after that one as well. So, yeah, Zeus, problematic. 5 seconds until Elder Dragon as well. There is an Exodia on the table here.
We haven't talked about it, but you mentioned the Maw. There's 2 Maws here because there's just so much magic damage for T1. Well, so little if you look at the itemization for Faker comparatively, but they are, and I mean, for the Gragas as well, that's got Cosmic Drive and a Rod.
Yep.
They just can't hurt the HLE champions, and HLE, all they need to do now is either look for a turn or secure this Elder, and it feels like this game is won, but the base is still fully alive, right? There's no inhibitors. It's not been broken up at all. T1 are being incredibly resilient in this one, 8,000 gold behind.
Yeah, they are all grouped up as well as HLE looking for a pin, so they think they might have caught Doran, who goes down to 50%. HLE now closing in, and Doran's just dead. T1 not going for the re-engage.
They're going for the push in the bottom lane. They're going to open up the base here. They still have Baron for 90 more seconds. They might just be able to end off of this siege.
Yeah, and the Elder Dragon is still up and available. T1 just falling apart.
They used nothing to kill Doran, just raw damage.
Oh, great charm is going to get onto Owner here as the Featherstorm comes on forward. Between Worlds is decent as Keria goes in, but he's going to take the Death Chamber exit, and down will go the Aurora as well. Pays is caught, and Owner is just going to go down in a blaze of glory as HLE finish the ace and get revenge against T1 as we start round 2 of LCK.
7-0-10, 17 out of 19 is Zeka's scoreline in the final game. They gave Kanavi the vibe, but maybe the bigger problem was the Ahri.
And honestly, I mean, we know that that combo is absolutely devastating, and it's certainly proven to be so once again. I believe we saw it in our previous series. It didn't win that time. It certainly did here.
It was an incredible series for Hanwha Life Esports. They showed something a little bit different here against T1 the second time around with some patient play, especially in game 1 to wrestle back the win, because could have been otherwise a T1 2-0. There's a little wink here, a double wink from Zeus.
What does it mean? I don't know. He's able to take down Doran, though.
you know, it's one of those rare high-profile matches where Zeus does get the better of Doran, right? In a really important game, but so much of it wasn't about the isolated 1v1. Zeka, Guy deserves a lot of credit for his performance here, but everybody on HLE in that final game got their comfort. They got what they were great at, and even though the Poppy angle was insane for Keria into the composition, there were just too many dashes to stop. There was too much mobility, and Faker on the Aurora, we talked about it in draft a few times. He just hasn't shown the mastery of this champion as the other elite mids here in the LCK, and he just got completely bopped by Zeka and could never make the impact he needed to make this draft work.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. I have to say, though, Kanavi having an absolute day out here today. Game number 1, 100% kill contribution. Game number 2 also was able to stand up to T1, and here in this one, being half of that dynamic duo, it was a masterclass here from Kanavi, who has just really began to run the jungle. And it's so crazy, right? Because I feel like Peanut did the same thing on HLE, and now it's Kanavi that comes in and says, well, I've been running the LPL, allow me to do the same thing over here.
The story of Hanwha Life Esports is one that I think people will remember for years to come, regardless of what happens for the rest of this year. From going from, you know, a near win in Kespa Cup to then jumping into an LCK Cup where they finished 10th place, a rocky start to the LCK where they lose to this very team, and then they start off round 2. It's almost as if they're like, no, it's a new slate now. We are much better now. And now it was a close series. T1 gave them a lot of trouble. It was not an easy win, but it was dominant in this final game. The third game, the most one-sided of them all. And they just look like they have a dense pack of champions that they like to play. They have one play style, and even if you know that, you can't stop it. It was some really unique drafting from T1 in the series. I like their creative approach. Maybe that's a little bit of Easyhoon style showing through here. But sometimes what you know best works incredibly well here. Guma finally this time has the fantastic Xayah ultimate to prevent Keria from blasting him, and the rest of the fight is just a wash. Faker's trying to layer damage, but they ignore him. He's so weak on this Aurora. And he's the last to go down.
Yeah, this
Doran,
pick onto Doran is just kind of the end of the game.
They use
T1
no
had
ults.
no control.
They use no ults to kill him, so they still have all their tools to just siege up and end the game. They don't need Elder.
Yeah, and this is the problem, right? When you're against a team that has kind of everything and the Elder is available, you do need to try and get vision around the area. And HLE just masterfully grabbed that pick and then set things up. This charm from Zeka, absolutely fantastic, much like the rest of his game, to be honest. And Keria goes in. I mean, it was a decent attempt there towards the end, but they were so far behind.
When Hanwha Life Esports won the LCK Summer, so long ago now it feels, and then went to first stand, won that after winning LCK Cup, they were not this dominant in their run-up to it.
Oh, no.
And it feels like we are not even necessarily watching the peak of what could be the beginning of a Hanwha Life Esports era. They toppled KT, they beat T1 on the second time of asking, and who knows how far the orange tank is gonna roll, Atlas.
Well, once it builds momentum, generally very heavy things like that struggle to slow down. So it might be that the inertia is gonna be enough to carry them through for some more victories, as this probably one of the more obvious POMs that we've had here in the LCK, as that 4-1-15 Jarvan performance was probably one of the better jungle performances we've seen all year.
I love the Jarvan. His flash Qs, his punishing of Faker was just so crisp, so clean to watch. Don't give this guy Vi. Like, what can you do? Every single meta champion, he's the best jungler at it. Like, who is even close to Kanavi right now in the LCK?
And I'm just thinking, like, don't give him Vi, but also don't give him all the other champions that he's got.
Or maybe not Jarvan.
Yeah.
Probably not also Kha'Zix. That should probably be avoided.
Convince him to play more Aatrox, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe you could get this guy on Sejuani, like, do some convincing.
Yeah, maybe like the Skarner, just try and like really pigeonhole him towards the Skarner.
Somebody needs to trick him into thinking like Karthus jungle is OP. He can't dive with that one very well.
Canyon could maybe do it. We'll just see. Oh, he has always liked that one as well, as we do have a slight delay heading towards the interview. But man, what an incredible series between HLE and T1. This one was a banger the first time around. Unfortunately, we only got 2 games that time. This time, it goes the distance.
It just
we
feels
get to
like
see the most we can.
The only way to dethrone Kanavi right now is to be a massive meta shift, right? Like where suddenly like Lilia is the best jungler, AP junglers are back. We see like Talia jungle, and he can't play what he's so good at. Because right now this meta suits him so incredibly well. The How Life Esports could just play like this every series and just keep stacking up Ws.
Yeah, but it could also be the other way, where Olaf comes back into the meta and he's able to once again, you know, dictate the pace on that champion as well. Of course, did bring that one around earlier on in the history of League of Legends. So Kanavi kind of always at the forefront of a lot of these metas that do happen, and even players over here in the LCK can, you know, follow what he's doing in the LPL even when he's not playing in our league. So it's kind of nuts, the influence that he's had. But now it is time to hear from him right now as we head over to the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the PON review translation, joined by Kanavi on the side of Hana Life Esports, who just reached the sole position of first place after today's victory. After defeating T1, you secured 8 consecutive wins and stand in the sole position of first place. How do you feel? You know, against T1, we have had bad experiences before, and so we actually make sure to prepare extra well. And I also feel a little nervous before them, but I feel so great that we're able to win today. And T1 was the only team to take you down in round 1, and you got your payback, so what changed? In round 1 against T1, we just didn't really play very well, and I felt like T1 had a better synergy compared to us. But throughout round 1, I think we were able to develop our team and improve over time. So I think right now we feel like we're in a really good place with great synergy. And in game 1, your enemy comp had low mobility champions, which helped highlight the Jarvan and Bard's strength. So what role were you trying to fulfill with this pick? I think Jarvan, Bard, against those low mobility comps, it's just really just that one correct answer. I think our early game didn't go very well, unexpectedly, but I think we were able to win through, you know, having a good comp. For Jarvan, I think I just have to make sure that utilizing the EQ skill, I think EQ skill backwards is really bad, so I always have to set my mind into using my EQ forward, and I think that actually emphasizes his strength. And in game 1, Zeka's Azir was actually struggling at first, and the mid ganks to relieve that pressure was the right call. So when you protected him, how did Zeka react? Well, Zeka in game 1, I think he actually accepted that he was going to lose lane, but we knew that his champion is really good from the late game, so I think I just really wanted to make sure that he scales to reach that point. And after dropping game 2, you guys took control of game 3 early, and your Vi claimed just everything, clearing the entire jungle, including the enemies. So while clearing the jungle, did you feel like you already won? Yeah, in game 3, at level 4, we actually had the full control of the mid and jungle. And from the moment that we got the kill, we just knew that we won. And in an interview, your head coach said, Kanavi has so many strengths and good results follow as he syncs up with the players. So how has the communication been like? You know, after returning to the LCK after a long time, you know, I think spending enough time with my teammates and just trying to communicate well with my laners and just talking a lot about ganking actually have been really helpful. And I think I have my own strengths, which is just going in to initiate very quickly and just looking for the right teamfight angles. So I think that's something that we try to focus on too. So any message over to your teammates or coaching staff? You know, after the LCK Cup, we have been preparing well and working really, really hard. So I think this is why we're able to reach first place. So I hope that we can keep it up. And what a great start of round 2. And for round 2, which team are you considering as the biggest threat? There are so many powerful teams in the LCK. I would consider KT and Genji as the strongest ones to watch out for. And any mindset for round 2. Against T1, we were able to get a good revenge, and for the rest of round 2, I hope that we prepare well, and we'll continue working hard. Thank you so much always. And that is all from Kanabi. Congratulations once again, and back to the space. Thank you.